Let me just ask Ms. Watson, not trying to put you on the spot, but before we actually call and recess, do you have any information update on grandmother?
No, ma'am, I do not.
Okay, she's logging
Sharon,
in now.
okay. Good. Her computer was locked up.
Indiana was placed yesterday with Grant.
Okay. Ms. Galvan, if you're ready, we will be.
Good morning, Judge. I'm ready.
Good morning. Okay, we are here today. In both cases, set on a final. Before we take that up, I would like to get a quick update on the record regarding the placement of Indiana. When we last left off, we were wanting a couple of things from the grandmother and also from St. Francis. So, Ms. Brown, if you could give me a quick update on that, I'd appreciate it.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Morning.
We did receive the letter from the doctor, and we did move Indiana with Mrs. Walker yesterday at 4:30.
Okay. All right. So I take it that you all have been in the home.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. No problems there.
No, ma'am. We do probably need to get Indiana in bed, but everything's fine.
Okay. All right, then. I appreciate that. Anybody else have anything regarding that update?
No, Your Honor.
No.
All right. All right, then. So our plan today is to call the case and to recess it until December 12th of 2024. And that's on a 9:00 docket. So, Mr. Trout, who would you call as your first witness?
Ms. Brown, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Brown, if you will, Trout, we'll take some just kind of preliminary information and we'll recess.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. Ms. Brown, would you state your name for the record, please?
Tiffany Brown.
And Ms. Brown, how are you employed?
I work for St. Francis Ministries, Texas.
And are you a permanency specialist on the cases we're here on today?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been on these cases?
From the initial removal since last September 26, 2023.
And you are familiar with all three children, Egypt, Arrow, and Indiana?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell me who the parents of Egypt and Arrow are?
LaQuisha Stotts and Adam Aguilar Jr.
Okay. And who are the parents to Indiana?
LaQuisha Stotts and Cameron Shelton.
Okay. And have you had a chance to meet with all three parents in your time on this case?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me where the father, Adam Aguilar, where is he currently located?
He's in the San Saba unit in Texas.
Okay. And have you had recent contact with the father for Indiana?
I did send him a drug screen on Friday.
Okay. And are you in constant contact or current contact with Mom LaQuisha Stotts?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I believe you just gave an update. Indiana was placed with the grandmother yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And that is maternal grandmother.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Judge, do you want me to keep going or?
Let's just inquire about the other children's current placement.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brown, can you tell us where Egypt and Arrow are placed right now?
They're in a licensed foster home in Lubbock, Texas.
Okay. And how are they doing?
They're doing well. I saw them Saturday.
Okay. I know you said you placed Indiana last night. She was doing fine once she got placed.
Yes, she was very happy, very excited.
Okay.
All right, that's probably a good place to just go ahead and stop. All right, then we will be in recess in both cases, as I stated, until December 12th of 2024. Just as a reminder from our last hearing, we were going to try to use best efforts to get Ms. Stotts another OSAR or something equivalent to that. Have we made any progress on that, Ms. Brown? I know it hadn't been that long.
Amarillo OSAR coordinator staffed it with their supervisor. They will not give her a third OSAR. They did recommend sending her to Lubbock for an OSAR or another program where I would have to directly talk with the admissions. Because the issue with sending her to another OSAR is she may come up with another OSAR recommendation that would not fulfill the court's order for inpatient.
All right, well, I had also, just as a reminder, then I had also told Ms. Stotts that she would remain under that prior order to go to inpatient treatment followed by outpatient treatment. So there's certainly some inpatient treatment centers that would take her and admit her without an OSAR, correct?
Correct. She replied to an email last week. She did an intake at a facility in Lubbock and she did not qualify for their state funding in their program.
Okay, do we have any other ideas?
Yes, so the OSAR coordinator, Amarillo, gave me a direct contact to call for a referral and see if we can go about it a different way. But we are making best efforts. It's just taking a little bit more effort than it normally would with a OSAR recommendation. OSAR recommendations are only good for 30 days, and we're well past 30 days.
All right. Okay, Ms. Stotts, looks like you wanted to add something.
I did call Serenity where I was back in July, and they said that they will accept me for readmission into inpatient treatment. I'm just waiting for a bed to become available for me to get in there.
Okay.
And they also have a follow-up outpatient program.
Judge, this is T.D. Hammonds. I may have missed something that was filed, but did we get a DNA result back on Adam Aguilar?
We haven't yet.
Okay, that.
Just refresh my memory if we gotten the draw on that.
Well, and Judge, there was, I think at the last hearing, I did say that we had gotten the order sent because we had to redo an order on it. I was mistaken. I was looking at the old order. The new order should have been sent to you to try to get that going. We've been in touch with Tiffany and Terry and them trying to fast track that once we get it. But I was mistaken on which order I was looking at. I thought we had refiled the second order since he had done an AOP, and that had not been filed yet. That was miscommunication on my part. But we're working on getting that done.
Okay. All right. Well, I know that was also one of the reasons we've pushed this till December. So
yes, ma'am. And I do apologize for that. Like I said, I looked at the wrong one. I thought I was looking at the newest one.
okay. All right then. Appreciate the information. Ms. Stotts, best of luck to you with all this, and I will see everybody back December 12th on a 9 o'clock docket.
All right,
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Appreciate everybody. We're here on a compliance
Thank you,
hearing.
Judge.
We're conducting
I'm
this
on the
through
third
Zoom under
case,
a
which is
finding of
fine.
good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Galvan's making our record today. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Morning, Your Honor, Counsel Gene Graff and Misty Fronterhouse on behalf of the department, ready and present.
Good morning, Judge Stacey Brown on behalf of Selena Ibarra. My client's present. We're ready.
Pamela Sermon here with Elijah Carter, the father of Trayvon. We're present and ready.
Stacey Zabala on behalf of the children.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get an update. What kind of progress are we having? Ms. Fronterhouse?
Selena has completely finished everything we've asked of her. Elijah's about halfway there. He's doing really well. I know he was having issues with his work schedule. I gave him the phone number to get in touch with Antonio at Padre for his Padre program. We have one class that we've had to substitute because our contract ended with Troy Timmons. So we're going to start him on that, but it's self-pay, so he can do it on his own time. He has 4 sessions of counseling left, And I believe that'll be it. His counseling, his Padre classes, and then this 4-hour cognitive thinking class, and then he'll be done.
All right, so is the department asking for some more time in the case so that he can complete?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like a little more time so he can complete those.
All right, children doing well?
Children are doing very well. Selena and Elijah seem to be getting along better and controlling themselves better. I haven't heard of any altercations or conflicts. They both seem to be doing really well. And the kids are great.
Are they living separately?
Yes, ma'am, they do live separately.
Okay, but they seem to be co-parenting pretty well then.
Yes, things seem to be much better between them.
All right, that's good. All right, what's the department's position about Ms. Ibarra at this point in time?
Well, she's completed all her services. Is that what you mean? I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, my question is she's completed everything. Do we need to continue her in the case as well, or just with Dad?
I would say just with Dad. She has completed everything. She's abiding by, not having him come in the home. They've got a good plan for visitations, and there's no confrontation. So I don't see any reason to keep her in.
Okay. All right. Okay, Ms. Grant.
Yeah, we agree with the department. My client has completed her services and utilized what she's learned and applying it effectively, and we would ask that she be dismissed.
All right, and Ms. Arn, anything on behalf of Father?
I have no opinion as to whether mother stays in the case. Dad is doing what he needs to do. He got a little behind because of the class mess up, but he's dedicated to getting this done and wants to complete. So I guess we need to stay in till one more time.
Okay. All right, and Ms. Zavala.
Your Honor, I got to meet with Selena and the kids in her home. She was very cooperative with me. I had to reschedule on her, and she was very flexible with that. The kids looked great. Now, Jaden had a tummy bug. I hope he's feeling better, but other than that, he physically looked great. All the kids seemed very comfortable where they were. I've got no concerns about the kids in her home.
Okay, great. All right then, Ms. Ibarra, and you're muted, but that's okay. Okay. Congratulations to you. Thank you for working so hard and getting through all this so quickly. Appreciate it. I am going to go ahead and dismiss you from the case in your attorney. You've done very well, and just, keep things up the way they are, and hopefully you'll never hear from us again.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, then with respect to Mr. Carter, I'm going to continue the services. We'll find that he is in compliance with that service plan. And we have our next compliance hearing December 3rd of 2024. That's on a 9 o'clock docket. My guess is he's going to be finished long before that. And I have no problem if the department's satisfied that we're in a good position, y'all just send me an order and we'll dismiss it and be done with it long before then.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
Happy to do that, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Carter, good luck. Just keep plugging away and get this stuff done. And then, as long as everything's going well, then, we'll get out of your life.
All right. Appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Then, just so it's on the books, December 3rd.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Can we be excused?
Absolutely. Have a good day.
Thank you.
And Mr. Nowak, I'm going to go ahead and get started and call the case. You might want to try to, if you want to try to reach out to her.
Judge, I emailed her the link, and I've tried calling her several times. including this morning and yesterday, and the phone just doesn't even ring.
It's just like she's trying to connect to audio.
You know, I talked to Kendra, and I understand that she is working services. I just haven't been able to get a hold of her.
Okay. Well, we'll get started and see if we get her connected. We're here today for our compliance hearing. We are conducting this through Zoom for live streaming. Ms. Galvan is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Morning, Your Honor. Gene Graff and Kendra Castillo-Bates on behalf of the department. It looks like Ms. Bates may be having some audio connection issues, but she is present and we are ready to proceed.
Okay. Lots of people with problems
Vince
this
Nowak on
morning.
behalf of Gabrielle Garza, the mom. It looks like she's trying to connect, but I'm here and ready, Judge.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of the boys. And for what it's worth, Mom did cooperate with me, and I was able to meet with her and the boys.
Okay, I'm just waiting to see if we can get Ms. Bates connected. All right. So Ms. Bates, if you want to just give us an update on how things are going.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So everything's going well so far. Gabrielle moved in with her mother-in-law. She's almost done with all of her services. She actually went to her first counseling session yesterday. She had some transportation issues. So when she got there, they went ahead and rescheduled her. So she'll be most likely doing that virtually. She's almost done with her online classes. She's already finished with her rational behavior training. She also already had her mental health evaluation done, where she was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and she has sleep problems. So, but everything's going well on our end. She's doing well.
Okay, sounds good. Very good. All right, she's trying to log in, but she still hasn't connected to audio. So, if we can't get her brought in, then I just appreciate if you or Mr. Novak would reach out to her maybe after the hearing, and I'm going to mark that she's attempting to join in, Mr. Novak, because she obviously is.
Thank you, Judge. And Kendra, when we're finished, if you could either email or text me your current, not your information, but Gabrielle's, if she has a new email or a new phone number, just if you can get those to me, I sure would appreciate it.
Yes, sir, I will.
Sorry for the interruption, Judge. Thank you.
No. Okay, then, Mr. Novak, anything else to add?
Nothing, Judge. I just want to thank Kendra for taking my phone calls and appreciate the update. It looks like Gabrielle is doing well and well on her way to finishing up this process. Thank you, Judge.
Sure. All right, and Ms. Zavala?
Your Honor, I got to meet with Mom and the boys in paternal grandmother's home. The boys looked good. They seemed very comfortable with Mom. It was a driveway full of sidewalk chalk, which I love to see. It looked like a fun home. So at this point, I mean, I know she's got some things to continue, but she seems to be cooperating, and the boys seem to be doing well.
Okay. All right, sounds good then. All right, then I'll find that that Ms. Garza is in compliance with her service plan, and we'll just keep working with her till we get everything finished up. We've got her on video now, but still no audio. I'm going to just try to send her a chat real quick. Okay, maybe we've got her now. I think we've got her.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. All right, great. Ms. Garza, we've just kind of gotten an update from everybody, and it sounds like things are going really well.
Yes, ma'am.
You're working hard. Kids are doing good. Any questions or anything you want to talk about today?
No.
Okay. Then what we're going to do is just keep working like we have been till we get everything finished. And then at that time, if everybody's comfortable, then the department will probably just dismiss out. We will have another compliance hearing set for December 3rd of 2020.
And that'll just be to review it again?
Well, yeah, maybe. So we're setting that hearing December 3rd of 2024. It'll be on a 9 o'clock docket. But if you're done with everything and everything's going well, they may dismiss out before that hearing ever happens.
Yes, ma'am.
So, they know that if they're feeling good about everything, they can just send me an order and we'll sign it and we'll be done.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so just keep up the good work.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all so much.
Thank you, Judge.
And Mr. Novak, do you want to put breakout room with her to confirm?
I would like that. I would like that, Judge. And then with your permission, I will leave the whole courtroom until 11:45 when, as Judge Anderson says, I'll zoom back in. But he means something really different when he says zoom back in.
All right, yeah, let me get you set up. So Ms. Garza, you're going to get a little prompt to go to room 1 and you can just say join.
Okay.
And then you, Mr. Novak, can talk privately for a minute. Our initial
Thank you so much,
permanency
Judge.
hearing.
Thank
We
you.
are conducting this through Zoom. We're live streaming and Ms. Galvan's making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. Haven DeSets, my primacy specialist. We're present, ready.
Bill Taylor representing the mother, Harley Lynch. She's present. I'm present. We're ready.
Stacy Zabala on behalf of Tommy.
Okay, thank you all. All right, what do we have new since the court report was filed?
Since the court report was filed, we have stopped. St. Francis no longer supervises any of the visits between Tommy and Harley. They are all supervised by placement, which is a relative, Sorrel Garrison, Harley's aunt. Those are going well. Harley is helping take Tommy to school in the morning, and she comes over in the evenings and eats dinner with the family and puts Tommy to bed. They're very bonded and they're very sweet together. Tommy is doing very well in his placement, and he will begin behavioral therapy this evening in the home with Arrow. And Miss Lynch has completed all of her services asked of St. Francis.
Okay, she has completed all services?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, any progress with Mr. Dickinson? I know he's incarcerated, so.
I send letters monthly to Mr. Dickinson, but I have not received any contacts back from him.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may ask Ms. Doucette some questions.
Yes.
Ms. Doucette, we just discussed, now, Mom has completed services. We're kind of looking toward reunifying, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you and your supervisor have spoken about it.
Yes.
Y'all are in the process of possibly staffing up to your director and working on a reunification plan, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And we're going to start working on that as soon as possible?
Yes, as soon as possible.
Okay. But at this time right now, Mom's doing great. She and job relationship's going well, and we're kind of moving in that direction.
Yes.
Since we haven't staffed it up, don't have a reunification plan, we don't have a set timeline right now, but that hopefully we'll have that pretty soon.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any concerns whatsoever with that, or are y'all completely happy going that route?
We're very excited to go that route for Harley and Tommy.
Okay. All right. Any other update you need to give the court?
Harley was sent to do a hair follicle test on 9/13, and the results did come back as negative.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. I'll pass with the chair.
Okay, great. Mr. Taylor?
Yes, thank you, Don. Is there anything at all that Harley needs to be doing that she is not doing?
No, sir. She's very compliant and stays in contact with me.
Okay. And any suggestions that you have for her?
No, sir.
Okay. I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Zavala?
Haven, at some point, Tony, who is the paternal grandmother, her contact and access to Tommy was stopped. And that was because she had allowed contact with Mom, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But mom's doing great. We're looking at reunification. Is there any reason that Tony cannot be a support system for Harley?
No, ma'am. I think that would be a good idea for them.
Okay. Is there any reason from your perspective that Tommy couldn't go back tonight if Mom was ready?
No, ma'am. I think he could.
Okay. I pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Zavala, do you have a recommendation to make?
I do, Your Honor. I've been able to meet with Tommy multiple times. The most recent time was this weekend in Aunt's home. I got to watch him interact with Mom. It was a very positive interaction, and she did a really good job of redirecting him. It wasn't just a fun time mom situation. They are clearly very bonded. I, at this point, have no concerns about Tommy going home with her. She does need her support system. I mean, in order to make it work, Tommy really needs to be a part of that to help Harley. Sorrel and Mike, who are the current placements, they have agreed to continue to be a support to her. I really don't think we need a situation where we need to kind of step up. I mean, they are very bonded. There's already daily interaction at this point. I am fine with Tommy going home at any point that Harley says, okay, I'm ready right now. So I think everybody's worked really hard. I think being with mom is in Tommy's best interest.
Ms. Doucette, have you been in mom's home then pretty recently?
Yes, I was there yesterday afternoon.
All right, great. She got what she needs for the child, you know, that's all squared away.
Yes, ma'am. She has a bedroom set up for him with a dresser full of clothes, toys, and a bed, and she's childproof the outlets and the doors for him.
And does she have transportation?
She's working on learning. She has a vehicle. It's stick. So she's working on learning how to drive that vehicle.
Okay. And until she's real comfortable with that, she's got then aunt, uncle, her mother, all these folks are going to be supportive and help her.
Yes, ma'am.
Transport the child if she needs to, or.
Yes, ma'am. And the school, the kinship worker was able to speak with the school, and they're able to bus Tommy from when he goes home with Harley to the school that he's currently at, so he doesn't have to change schools.
Okay. All right. Well. All right.
Yeah, Your Honor, if I may, just for clarification purposes, ask one question of the worker.
Sure.
The Tony we're talking about is not actually Harley's mother. Is that correct?
Yes, it's Tommy Dickinson, dad's mother.
Okay, the paternal grandmother.
Yes, sir.
But they're still, Harley and Tony are very close and actually work at the same location. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that all came out of the previous hearing, I believe.
Yes.
All right, I just want that to be clarified, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then let's just pull the trigger and send him home. So Ms. Lynch, St. Francis will, officially do a placement with you. Understand this is just placement. The department's still going to be the temporary managing conservator of Tommy. They're going to want to monitor for a little while. And, as long as things keep going well, then, probably in a few months, then, we can get out of this as long as things continue to go smoothly.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then, Ms. Doucette, I'll let you work that out with placement and however quickly that can happen. And then we'll just see everybody back. Let's see. Our next review hearing is not till January 14th of 2025. That's on a 9:00 docket. If St. Francis Department, everybody's comfortable with how things are going, we can try to wrap this up before that date. I was just looking, Mr. Dickinson is just an alleged father. And we can dismiss and leave them right where they're at, unless mom wants some orders, and I'll let Mr. Taylor talk to her about that, and you can communicate with Mr. Trout about that. I don't know what his projected release date is off the top of my head, or if I've even seen that, but I'll let you all talk about what we want to do as a wind down.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Lynch, congratulations. Thank you for working so hard on all of this, and I hope things go real smoothly.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Otherwise, I'll see you back January 14th, but we might be done before then.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right.
Hey, Haven, if you'll just send an email once that placement happens, and y'all get the child moved.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Everybody have a blessed day.
Thank you. You
Good,
too.
Mr.
Here today on our final in this case. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Galvan is making our record. Okay, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present ready, Your Honor.
Brooks Barfield for named father. He has not been in contact with anyone throughout the entirety of this case. I am present and ready. He did not show for mediation. I do not know his whereabouts, but I'm ready to proceed today.
Jay Michelson on behalf of the mother, Nene Toon. I have not had contact with Nene this month. I'm present and ready.
Kenner Araujo on behalf of the child, present ready.
Okay. Mr. Trout, I know went to mediation, reached an agreement with mom.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that from the amended report, the department is wanting to move forward with termination of the alleged father's parental rights.
Yes, ma'am.
All All right, who's your first witness gonna be?
And Your Honor, before we start, do you want me to, I have the mediated settlement agreement as an exhibit. I would ask that we go ahead and put that on as far as mom.
Yeah.
And put that agreement on the record, and then I'll start with dad, if that's
That'd be
okay.
fine.
And Your Honor, I sent these out. If nobody has an objection, I would just ask to go ahead and admit exhibit 1, which is the file marked copy of the mediated settlement agreement.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Yes, ma'am. And Your Honor, if you don't mind, I'll just read what the agreement is and then we'll go from there. That the department would be named as the permanent managing conservator of the child. The mother will be appointed as possessory conservator of the child. There's some stipulations as to what the department will ensure. Will ensure its placement of the child, will give the child the opportunity to be involved in community events. The child will be able to continue to have the opportunities to socialize with people outside of her placement. Placement will research and cook foods related to the child's culture. The placement understands that the child's watching movies about our culture is a way placement will implement the child's culture to the child's life. The placement will allow the child to participate in age-appropriate activities such as mosque, sports, school, and as appropriate. And placement will be aware of the child's culture and do whatever is needed and possible to maintain those aspects of the child for the child during the time the child is living in the group home. As to possession and access, the department and mother will make sure that we'll have possession and access to the child at all times mutually agreed between the department and the mother. In the absence of an agreement, the mother will have the right to virtual access to the child 1 time per calendar month. With each period of access being up to 1 hour, the department will have possession of the child at all other times. Mother, as to child support, mother will pay the department child support in the amount of $225 a month, with the first installment being due October 1st, and like installments each day thereafter will be terminated pursuant to the Texas Family Code. The mother will additionally pay medical support of $50 a month due October 1st of 24 and each day after that. Excuse me, I apologize. First day of each month after that. Medical support shall be terminated pursuant to Family Code when the mother is no longer obligated to support the child or required under Family Code 154.182 BE or B3. If health insurance becomes available, mother at a reasonable cost, the mother can enroll child in the medical support at that point or insurance plan. And the mother provides the department and in a Title 4D case, Title 4D agency, the information required under Texas Family Code 154.185. As addition to child support, mother will pay 100% of the child's reasonable healthcare expenses that are not paid or reimbursed by the insurance or Medicaid, including but not limited to vision, dental, orthodontic, or counseling expenses, less whatever percentage the court in this suit orders Colin to pay. There will not be an award of retroactive child support. And that is the agreement, Your Honor. That's the mother.
All right. Mr. Michelson, is that your client's agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay, and Ms. Naranjo, do you believe that's in the child's best interest?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And Casa, is that also your agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, then with respect to mother, I will follow the terms of the mediated settlement agreement and we will incorporate that into a final order in the case. Find that that's in the best interest of the child. And then Mr. Trout, if you want to proceed with evidence on Mr. Wynn, that'd be great.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call Andrea Lewis. Your Honor, how are you familiar with that case?
I was the removing worker when Pew came into care last September.
Okay. And you heard the agreement just then with mom.
Yes, sir.
So we're mostly going to talk about dad here. and information that you have regarding his whereabouts and contact with him. Real quick though, how did the department become involved in this case?
The department became involved due to concerns about physical and medical neglect of Pew. Nini was working services with the department through family-based safety services. I took over that case September 1st of 2023. So I only had a very short amount of time before we did the removal, as Nini had asked us to take custody because she felt she was not able to meet Pew's needs at that time.
Okay. And during your investigation and you working the case, did you talk to mom about dad?
I did.
Okay. And what did mom tell you about dad?
She was unsure about his whereabouts. She told me that she had heard that he had returned overseas and that he was residing in Thailand. I had that discussion with her in September of last year. And that's the only information she could provide, is that he was allegedly in Thailand at the time.
Okay. And when you said he had returned, he was here and returned back to Thailand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the child was born here?
Yes.
Okay. Dad is pled in as an alleged dad, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Did you run any searches, or what methods did you go through to try to find that?
Yes, sir. So we requested an accurate search on September 20th of last year, and it brought up some previous addresses. He had not had a current address since 2020. And so we didn't have any like current or present information at the time that accurate was sent. Based off the information that mom had given me, I contacted the Thai embassy to try to get them involved to maybe just confirm that he was there. I had to provide an order to them to try to get that information, and they responded back that because he was not a Thai citizen or a Thai national, he was Burmese, they had no way of tracking if he had come in or out of the country. They were not able to confirm anything with me as far as his whereabouts, or confirm if he was in fact in Thailand.
Okay. And we don't know if he's Burmese, if he went back to his native country. We're not sure.
Correct.
All right. Did mom, during your time after you ran those searches, did mom have any other information to provide, or is that all she had?
The only other thing that she had told us is he had never really been involved. Pew didn't have a relationship with him. He was not an ongoing presence in her life. He had never provided any sort of like financial assistance or anything like that. He had always been, in the wind, so to speak.
Okay. And that was there any other family members or anybody else you could ask on that, or was mom kind of your only point of contact?
Mom was our only point of contact.
Okay. And due to mom agreeing for the child to go into care and not knowing where dad is, you believe it was in the best interest for the department to take custody of the child at that time?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Michelson
No questions, Your Honor.
and Mr. Barfield.
Thank you, Judge. Ma'am, other than the mom's word that my client was this child's father, do we have any other evidence indicating that he is actually the father of this child?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Was he ever served in the case?
We didn't have an address for him, and so we were not able, on my portion of the case, we were not able to serve him because his whereabouts were unknown. As far as previous cases, I can't testify to that to know for sure.
Okay. And I'm just limiting my questions to this.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Silly question based on your testimony, but has he done anything that you're aware of to contact you, St. Francis, the department, mom, the child?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And I know that was a compound question, sorry.
Yeah.
In regards to this case, I'm assuming we don't know the living conditions. We don't know whether he has transportation, a job, or anything of that nature either.
No, sir.
Okay. He worked no services.
No, sir.
Okay. Even if we found him today, even if he'd have showed up today, what would your recommendation be?
Based on Pew's significant needs, she has medical needs, she has behavioral needs, all those things. He's not been around. He's not been educated on her needs. I don't know if that would be an appropriate parent to even look at as far as placement or living situation.
Okay. Now, because of this child's special needs, based on what was in the mediation agreement, I'm not going to go back over that. That's where the child is going to reside, at least for the foreseeable future. Is that correct?
In care, yes, sir.
Yes, yes, that's a better way to put it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I don't have any other questions. I appreciate you. Pass it.
All right, and Ms. Zavala. I mean, excuse me, Ms. Naranjo.
No questions, Your Honor.
My apologies. Okay. Mr. Trout, any further questions of this witness?
No further question from Ms. Lewis, Your Honor.
All right, then. Is Ms. Lewis free to go at this time?
I have no objection.
All right, Ms. Lewis, thank you so much for your time today. You're free to leave us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
All right, you can call your next witness.
Call Cayenne Johnson.
Okay. All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Cayenne, would you state your name for the record, please?
Cayenne Johnson.
And Ms. Johnson, you've recently changed your name, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so throughout this case, you worked under the name Cayenne Williams, correct?
Correct.
Just for the record purposes. How are you employed?
I'm a permanency specialist with St. Francis Ministries.
And are you familiar with the case involving the
Yes.
child? And how are you familiar with the case?
I have been the permanency specialist on it since the adversary hearing in this case.
And you heard the announcement we made as far as mom with the mediated settlement agreement.
Yes.
As to dad, have you had any contact with him?
I have not.
Do you have any information of his whereabouts?
I do not.
Did you ever, throughout the life of this case, did you have any discussions with mom as far as dad?
Yes, I see her in person once a month and I ask her every month if she's heard from him or knows anything about him, and her answer is no every time.
Okay. Have you run any searches or tried to find out where he is outside of talking to mom?
Yes.
And what steps did you go through to do that?
I ran a diligent search that came with the accurate and the clear search, and same as Miss Lewis, his most current address was in 2020. I did go by that address, nobody answered. And his last phone number, I believe, was from 2020. And I mean, nobody answered. They were all out of service. So no current information.
Okay. Did you find any relatives or family members of dad?
I did not.
Okay. Did mom have any information on anybody that may possibly know his whereabouts?
No.
Okay. Did you receive the exhibits I sent out?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit number 2, can you tell me what that is?
I believe it was a paternity registry search. A request.
And was that filed with the court on January 24th of 2024?
Yes.
Okay. And does it state if anybody has made or a notice of intent to claim paternity of the child?
There has been no notice of intent.
Okay. Your Honor, I would ask to admit exhibit number 2, the file marked copy of the certificate of paternity registry search for dad.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 2 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Johnson, as to court's already kind of ruled that they'll follow the MSA as far as mom. Is the department asking to terminate the parental rights of the alleged father in this case based upon his failure to register with a paternity registry search?
Yes.
And do you believe that that is in the best interest of the child?
Yes.
In your conversations with mom, is it you had any conversations as far as did the dad ever have any involvement with the child?
I did.
And what was mom's comments about that?
He has not been involved since she was a baby, and Pew doesn't know who he is.
Okay. Did mom ever state when the last time she saw dad was?
Not that I recall.
And you do believe that terminating based upon failure to register would be in the best interest of the child, to allow the child to move on and as far as to work with mom?
Yes.
In your honor, I would also ask the court to take judicial notice of an answer filed on behalf of Colin on April 16th of 2024.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Is that marked as an exhibit too?
It is not, Your Honor. I was just
Okay.
asked to take judicial notice of that answer file.
All right, I'll take judicial notice of the answer that was filed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Michelson,
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Barfield.
Just quickly, Your Honor. Ma'am, did you hear the questions I'd asked the previous worker?
Yes.
Would your answers be substantially the same as that worker's answers to my questions?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything different that you would have testified to in regards to any recommendation for termination against my client?
No.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Naranjo?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, does the department rest?
Department rest, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Michelson, any witnesses?
No witnesses. We rest and close.
Mr. Barfield?
I have no witnesses, Judge. Rest.
And you close as well?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, Ms. Naranjo, any witnesses?
No, Your Honor.
You rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, other than your recommendation, do you close?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, does department close?
Department close, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Naranjo, and your recommendation today?
I do believe it's in the child's best interest to follow the mediated settlement agreement, and I do believe it's in the child's best interest to terminate the alleged father's rights today, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, and CASA.
Thank you, Your Honor. CASA respectfully recommends the termination of Mr. Wynn's rights due to the fact that we not only can locate him, but he hasn't participated at all in the services. Also, CASA has a concern with the fact that, yes, we do recommend the current placement, but I'm showing there hasn't been a dental appointment since 2023. I'm not sure if my information on Health Passport is correct. Maybe I need to confirm and look into that further, but given Pugh's medical needs, I would consider dental a need as well.
Okay, Ms. Johnson, do you have any other information about that?
I believe she's current. Health Passport doesn't always stay up to date. I'm pulling up her records right now, but I can get with Carla on that if I need to.
Okay, if you'll just look into that and let's just make sure that we are up to date on that.
In Your Honor, on the court report filed by Ms. Johnson, it states on last dental exam was 6/18 of 24.
Okay, great.
It looks like, just update, looks like she had some cavities filled and they'll follow up in 6 months.
Okay, super. All right, then at this time, I do find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights of the alleged father based on his failure to register with the paternity registry under Texas Family Code 161.002 subsection B2. I find it is in the best interest of the child and the Department of Family and Protective Services as the permanent managing conservator of the child. I will appoint mother as a possessory conservator of the child. Will follow and incorporate all of the provisions of the mediated settlement agreement between the department and the mother with respect to the department's assurances, encouraging the child's cultural history and awareness, child support, medical support, and visitation, and health insurance if that becomes available at a reasonable cost. Mother will be ordered to pay 100% of the uninsured medical expenses since we're terminating the alleged father's rights, and no retroactive or child support arrears will be ordered. This time I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys with the exception of Ms. Naranjo, who will remain on as the child's attorney and guardian ad litem. Casa, would you all like to remain in the case, or do you feel like we're good?
We would like to remain in the case, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. I will leave Casa in the case. Mr. Michelson, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss you at this time. The department and mom seem to be working well together. If something changes about that, she can always apply for reappointment. But I think we're okay at this point. So I appreciate your service, and Mr. Barfield, same for you. So obviously, those dismissals will occur after any de novo or appeal time expires. And council, of course, have always, if you're instructed to file a notice of appeal, please do not do so until the final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. Okay, I appreciate everybody. Thank y'all. Have a good rest of your day, unless you're staying with me.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Honor.
We're here today in finals in both cases. We're conducting this through Zoom. We are live streaming, and Ms. Galvan is making our record. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trial for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Honor.
Natalie Archer for Mom, Araceli Chavarria.
Brianna? She's still in the.
I don't see her.
Hang on, she's back in the waiting room. Just a minute. Let me bring her in. Just taking announcements.
Yes, Judge. Brianna Gomez here on behalf of Father Cesar Marin, who did not appear. And we are ready.
Okay.
JC Zavala on behalf of the boys.
Okay, Mr. Trout.
Yes, Your Honor. Before we get started, Your Honor, with any testimony from Ms. Bird, the parties did mediate as far as mom. Neither father participated in that. We did come to mediated settlement agreements. Those were filed with the court. If there is no objection, I would ask to admit the mediated settlement agreements as exhibits. In the Chavarria case, it would be exhibit number 1-C. And in the Peralta case, it would be 1-P.
Okay, any objection?
No objection?
No objection.
All right, petitioners exhibit 1-C and 1-P will be admitted.
In Your Honor, if the court wants me to, do you want me to read in what we agreed to?
No, everybody's got the exhibits and it's out there, so nope, we're good.
All right. Just for the court in that though, the agreement is for maternal grandmother Gracie Rios to be named as a joint managing with mom, and maternal grandmother Gracie Rios would have the right to designate the resident, so she'd be primary on that. No child support ordered for mom. The children do receive some Social Security benefits that are paid to grandma at this point, I believe.
Okay.
Now, Your Honor, as to the dads, there are prior orders in both of these cases. Dads have been adjudicated in the prior orders. What we would be asking for today is to kind of leave dads where they are. They're both have been ordered to pay child support in prior orders. So we would ask that. Now, as far as in the Chavarria case, excuse me, said that wrong. In the Peralta case, out of this court in 2018, there was a prior order. Possession and access is that Paul Anthony Peralta would have no contact, and that he also was ordered to pay child support in an amount of $224 a month and medical support at $30 a month. The only change we would ask in that, Your Honor, is that the child support payments be directed to Gracie Rios.
Okay.
And then as to Mr. Marin on the Chavarria case, there is a prior AG's order that was modified and done in, I believe it was, May of 2023. There was some arrearages ordered paid in that, and I'm assuming the arrearages would still go to mom. The current child support that was ordered to be paid was $997 a month. And that current we would ask to be rerouted to Ms. Rios.
Did he have a visitation order?
Judge, in this order, I don't see it. And my computer is messed up and will not let me open his prior order. So I was trying to get that, but if somebody else can open that, I cannot see it for some reason. There was a default order filed in January of 2019, January 9th of 2019. But for some reason, my Odyssey will not let me open that order.
Let's see. Well, we've got several things that have happened. All right, there was a final order. Yeah, in 19.
It looks like there was a modified possession and access done at that time, Your Honor.
Yeah, let's see. But we don't know whether he ever
Yes, ma'am.
stepped up or did any of that.
Yes, ma'am. I would, I'll have some testimony on that, but I would ask that we modify the possession and access to 1 hour a month, supervised or as agreed by the parties.
All right, so if we just say, all right, it'll be supervised 1 hour a month by the maternal grandmother or someone that she designates, will that work?
I'm good with that, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. You need to put on some testimony to that effect.
Yes, ma'am. I'll put on some testimony as to compliance and with throughout the case and stuff here.
Okay. Just, I think the issue is what if any involvement they've had.
Yes.
So, okay. All right, then you can call your first witness.
I'd call Jaleesa Bird, Your Honor. And how are you familiar with those cases?
I'm the permanency specialist on this case.
And you heard our announcement as far as the MSA with mom.
Yes.
And the agreement with maternal grandmother being managing conservator in that.
Yes.
Do you believe that asking the court to follow that MSA and that is in the best interest of the children in both cases?
I do. Yes.
As to the dads, you heard the announcement, what we just discussed as to Paul Peralta as to Sabian Peralta.
Yes.
Do you believe it's in the best interest of the child to leave dad where he's currently in? There's a no access order and for him to be ordered to pay child supports.
Yes.
As to Caesar Marion, has he been compliant through this case?
No, my last contact with Caesar was in November. I have not had recent contact. I know he has contact with his son through Grace. But as far as with St. Francis, we have not had contact with him since November.
Okay. So he, at this point, has not been compliant with the department at all?
Correct.
He has not reached out to you to do any visitations or to have visits with his child?
Correct.
Do you believe it's in the best interest at this time to leave him under the current child support order? Have that routed, the current order routed to maternal grandmother?
Yes.
As to visitations, do you believe it's in the best interest of the child for dad to have 1 hour visit, order 1 hour of visit supervised either by managing conservator or by designee?
Yes.
And so we would modify that as to the prior orders.
Yes.
Okay. How's the child doing or children doing?
Sabian and Angelo, they're doing well. They're going to school. They're enjoying their mother being around more. So it's just a really good environment and everyone seems to be doing well.
Okay. And you do believe all of what we have announced today and asked the court for today are in the best interest of those two children?
Yes, I do.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Archer, any questions?
No questions.
Ms. Gomez, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, and Ms. Zavala?
No questions.
All right. Mr. Trout, anything further?
Nothing further as far as the testimony, Your Honor, from Ms. Byrd. The only other issue I don't think we discussed as far as Mr. Marion is he was also to pay medical support at that, so we would also ask that to be incorporated from the prior order.
Okay, but Mr. Peralta was not.
No, ma'am. I don't believe so.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm just going to say redirect his child support to maternal grandmother and any medical support if it was ordered.
Okay.
If previously ordered. All right, anything further from the department?
Sorry, Your Honor. On Mr. Peralta, there was medical support at $30 a month ordered on that.
Okay.
Sorry, I apologize. I couldn't find my documents.
Okay, anything further then?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Archer, anything today?
No, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Gomez?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Zavala?
No, Your Honor, other than I do believe the agreement as announced and the approach for dads is in the best interest of the children. I would recommend with that order that we put a specific date for it to be redirected to grandma. I believe based on the way the AG financial system works, that needs to be a date in the future. So I would suggest October 1st for that, for all of that to pan out the right way.
All right. Everybody rest and close?
Rest and close, Your Honor.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I will approve the agreement that was reached with mom, name Araceli Chavarria, and the maternal grandmother Grace C. Rios as joint managing conservators. Ms. Rios will have the right to establish the primary residence of the children. There'll be no child support ordered or medical support ordered for Ms. Chavarria, as the children are drawing some Social Security benefits through her. I will redirect Mr. Peralta's child support to the maternal grandmother and his medical support to maternal grandmother. Any arrearages would still go to Ms. Chavarria. I will redirect Mr. Marin's child support and medical support to Ms. Rios. Continue the no contact order for Mr. Peralta. All right, redirect Mr. Marin's child support and medical support to Ms. Rios, and I'll modify his visitation to 1 hour a month supervised by Ms. Rios or someone she designates. All support will be redirected as of October 1st of 2024. And at this time, then I'll dismiss the department and all court-appointed attorneys from the case after the de novo and appellate timeframes expire. All right, when you get me orders, I'll sign them. And Ms. Chavarria, very best of luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank y'all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
here today on our final. In this case, we're conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We're live streaming, and Ms. Galvan is making our record today. All right, we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Judge T.D. Hammonds for Ruben Pena. I'm ready to proceed. Do you have Tate available, Judge?
Yes,
I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Judge, I'm here. Tate Eldridge, present, ready. I represent Ricky Armijo, the mother, and she's present, ready as well.
Stacy Zavala for Samuel and Sophie.
Okay. All right, I know we've got some things worked out and agreed, so Mr. Trout, any announcements?
I do, Your Honor, and before I announce on that part, I have an oral motion to make. The child, Samuel, has been placed back with parents. He is going to per the agreement and per the way everything's worked, he's going to stay there. So we would make I'd make an oral motion for a partial non-suit to have Samuel non-suited out of the case, and for him to stay with parents and leave them where they were at the beginning. And to have Ms. Zavala discharged of her duties once we're done. That is done also.
All right, so let me just ask, is that Mr. Eldridge, your client's agreement?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Okay, Mr. Hammonds?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, and Ms. Zavala, are you good with that?
Yes, Your Honor, I've been able to visit with Samuel several times in parents' home. He seems comfortable. He seems to be doing well. And I do believe that non-suit is in his best interest at this time.
Okay. All right, then, with respect to Samuel, then I will sign an order of dismissal in that case, and thank parents for their cooperation and dismiss the department, obviously, and all court-appointed attorneys from that matter.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And Your Honor,
Appreciate everyone.
I have that order drafted. We'll have that filed today.
Okay.
Now, as far as Sophie, Your Honor, there was a mediated settlement agreement. As part of that agreement, the parents agreed to sign voluntary relinquishments and have those done the day of the mediation. That was done, and those relinquishments have been filed in order to allow Sophie to stay where she is and believe be adopted by a family member at that time, and once that's available. I would ask if there's no objection to it. Exhibit number 1 that I sent out is a file marked copy of the mediated settlement agreement. I would ask to admit that as exhibit number 1.
No objections.
No objection.
No objection, Judge. No objections.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And my next question to the court on this, Your Honor, the court want me to take testimony as far as the removal, or since we have an MSA agreeing to this and relinquishments signed, does the court want me to just prove up the relinquishments at this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And I would just ask take judicial notice of the affidavits and everything filed at the time of removal if there's no objection.
Counsel, any objection?
No objection.
No objection, Judge.
All right, I'll take judicial notice of the court's file that contains the affidavit that references the reasons for removal and all the subsequent permanency reports, which would outline the department's reasonable efforts to reunify the family. And then, Mr. Trout, since they are voluntary relinquishments, you can just prove those up.
Thank you, Your Honor. And since that part is taken care of, Your Honor, if we could release Miss White, let her go on about her way. I just had her here in case I need to take testimony notice to the removal. So if I don't need to do that, if we could let her go.
All right, any objection?
No
No
objection.
objection.
All right, then that's Ms. White, you're free to go at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. White.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Truck.
Call Corey Cook, Your Honor.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Let me just stop. Ms. Armijo, Ms. Pena, I'm going to mute you all right now because the child in the background, it just makes it hard for the court reporter.
I apologize.
It's okay. We can unmute if we need to.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I am.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I am the permanency specialist for that case.
Okay. Did you receive what I sent out, exhibits number 2 and 3?
Yes, I did.
Okay. As to exhibit number 2, did the respondent mother, Ricky Armijo, execute an affidavit of voluntary relinquishment on I believe it was May 13th of 2024?
Yes.
And did she sign that relinquishment?
Yes.
Were there 2 witnesses to the relinquishment?
Yes.
Is that relinquishment notified or notarized?
Yes, it is.
Has the department consented to being the designated managing conservator of the child?
Yes.
And was that filed on May 13th of 2024 with the court?
Yes, it was.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 2. It's the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment signed by the respondent mother, Ricky Armijo.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
No objection?
All right, exhibit 2 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Cook, are you asking the court today to terminate the parental rights of Ricky Armijo based solely upon the affidavit of voluntary relinquishment?
Yes, I am.
And do you believe that that is in the best interest of the child?
Thank you.
I do.
Do you believe that that is in the best interest of the child?
Yes, I do.
Ms. Cook, how is Sophie doing?
Sophie is doing very well, actually. She was able to get her helmet taken off. She has started to use a walker and is zooming around. Her movements are going really well. They were able to lower her down to only 2 therapies weekly. She communicates very well, loves to giggle and babble. They do have video calls with parents and Samuel, and those also go very, very well. She seems to be thriving in her placement.
Okay. And is placement adoption motivated?
Yes, they are.
And they are family, correct?
Yes, sir.
And not the department's in agreement or any part to that agreement, but going forward, they're willing to work with parents as far as visitations and seeing the child and stuff.
Yes, sir.
And you do believe that this is in the best interest of Sophie?
I do.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, great. Mr. Eldridge, any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Hammonds?
No questions, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Zavala?
No questions.
All right, then. Mr. Stroud, anything further, or does the department rest?
Department rest, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Eldridge, anything to present today?
No, Your Honor.
All right, do you rest?
Rest and close. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Hammonds?
Nothing to present, Judge.
All right,
Rest and close.
Okay, all right, Ms. Zavala, anything to present or just your recommendation?
Nothing to present. I rest, just a recommendation.
Okay, you may go ahead.
I do believe that it's in Sophie's best interest that the parental rights be terminated based solely on the relinquishments that were executed by the parents. She is doing very, very well in placement. As was stated, this is a kinship placement, and they do work well with parents. They had previously been placement for Samuel, and she is thriving there. I do recommend that when parental rights are terminated and we're in this period before adoption, that if kinship placement and parents have continued contact, I do believe that I have no objection to that, and believe that would be in the family's best interest.
All right, then. At this time, then I do find by clear and convincing evidence it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and her mother, Ricky Armijo, and her father, Ruben Pena, solely based on the K grounds, their voluntary relinquishments, and the best interest of the child under 161.001(b)(2). I'll name the department as permanent managing conservator of Sophie, and I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys with the exception of Ms. Zavala. She will remain as the child's attorney and guardian ad litem. Counsel, just be mindful, of course, your de novo timeframe does begin to run. Please don't file any notice of appeal if you're instructed to do so until after a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. All right, I will also permit any post-termination contact between parents and Sophie as placement chooses to do so. Sounds like that may even be something that goes beyond adoption, which would be great, but we obviously aren't part of that. But until the adoption is done, then I'm fine with parents continuing to have that kind of access. Okay, appreciate y'all. Thank you very much. Everybody's excused, except for those of you that still need to stay with me.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. You guys take care.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thanks a lot, Judge.
Thank you. We are here today for our final. I know that Mr. Nowak has filed a motion for extension. We'll take that up in just a minute. We are conducting this through Zoom under a finding of good cause and agreement of the parties. We are live streaming, and Ms. Galvan is making our record. All right, we'll take everyone's announcements first.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services will present, ready, Your Honor.
Vince Nowak on behalf of Roxana Ramirez. I am present, Your Honor. My client is not.
Joel Jackson, on behalf of respondent father, I'm present and ready. My client is not.
Stacy
All right.
Zavala on behalf of Raphael.
Sorry, apologize. All right, Mr. Nowak, I've reviewed your motion for extension in the case. I have reviewed the final court report that has been filed with regard to the status of your client's services. I am not seeing any basis of extraordinary circumstances upon which to extend the case, but I will give you just a minute to tell me anything that you think you need to tell me.
Thank you so much, Judge, and I sure do appreciate that. It's my understanding that having completed an inpatient rehab, that is an extraordinary circumstance. Ms. Ramirez has done that. She has done 53 days at Senecor. She graduated in February of this year from that. And I'll be candid with the court. Since then, she hadn't been following her plan of service. However, she did complete inpatient service. She did 53 days, which is more than what is normally required. And I think she's entitled to that extension, Judge. And I think, and I haven't been doing this as long as most folks on screen, Judge, but I've been doing this for about 3 or 4 years with y'all. I have seen cases where at the end, we're at the end of this case, where if at the end a client completes inpatient rehab, they get the extension. In this case, Roxana completed it early on in the case, and she's kind of fallen off the map since then. But I don't see any reason why we don't give her the same consideration, that same extra 180 days that we give to other clients that come before the court that have also completed inpatient rehab. These folks are a lot different when they're sober, Judge, and I can't tell you how proud I was of Roxana in February of this year when she was completing rehab and doing well, and what I sometimes call the pink cloud. Sometimes she got away from that for whatever reason, but she did complete 53 days at Senecor. She graduated in February, and I think she's entitled to this extra 180 days, and that's all I have, Judge.
All right, so I appreciate the point that you're making, Mr. Nowak. The court is far more likely to entertain that extension and find extraordinary circumstances if a parent has completed inpatient rehab but is maintaining sobriety. And the problem I think we have here is that I think subsequent drug testing since she completed rehab would indicate that she's relapsed. It was recommended to her that she, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was recommended that she go for outpatient follow-up treatment, but she has not done that. And we've had positive drug screens since that time. So if my facts are not correct, anybody's free to jump in and correct me.
I think your facts are correct, Judge. But I just keep coming back to this analogy about, the days getting shorter, and it's like that old Indian saying that, chop off the top of the blanket, sew it on the bottom, it's still the same thing. Within the time that she had to complete services, she completed inpatient rehab. And I think that qualifies and justifies my request for the 180-day extension, Judge.
All right. Well, I wish we were in a different position. I wish that mom had maintained that sobriety and followed up with outpatient, and that we'd had clean drug screens, and we probably would be here doing a whole different thing at this point. But I'm going to deny the request for extension, and we're going to go ahead and proceed today. I think permanency of the child outweighs granting mom that additional 6-month extension, particularly based on what's occurred since she completed that treatment back in February.
Well, she's not present for today's trial, Judge, and I guess I would ask the department what they did to ensure her presence today.
We'll get all that on the record, and I'll be sure that ask Mr. Trout if he can cover those bases as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Nowak, obviously, let's see. I assume you attempted to give her notice. She was not present at our last review hearing. I think the last several review hearings. Let me look. The last hearing she was present for was our initial permanency hearing. All right, so, but you, as her attorney, did attempt to give her notice of the final hearing.
Yes, Judge.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Trout, I'm going to allow you to go and call your first witness. And I do want some indicators of what efforts we've made to notify mom.
Yes, ma'am. First I'd call David Anderson, Your Honor.
Okay, I am going to ask everybody to be mindful. I know Mr. Jackson's got a hearing at 1:30. The court also has other matters at 1:30. So the best we can stay on topic, it would be appreciated.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Anderson, would you state your name for the record, please?
David Anderson.
And Mr. Anderson, how are you employed?
I'm an investigator with the Department of Family and Protective Services.
And how long have you been in that role?
Just under 2 years.
Okay. And are you familiar with the case we're here on today?
I am.
And how are you familiar with that case?
I was the initial investigator assigned to the intake.
Okay. How did the department become involved in the case with this child?
We became aware of concerns regarding the household on September 1st. When we received a report that the mother was residing in a shed in unsafe living conditions and exposing the child to methamphetamine use.
Okay. When you got that report, what is your first steps? What did you do?
I made contact with the mother at the residence, with law enforcement, and observed the mother that was residing with a paramour at the time in a shed behind a house with no running water, no electricity, and they were sleeping on a pile of blankets on the floor.
Okay. When you arrived, were you able to meet with the mother?
Yes.
And did you discuss the concerns and allegations and why you were involved in there?
Yes, she was made aware of why we were involved.
Okay. Did you discuss whether any of the allegations of drug use?
Yes. So, mother submitted to a drug test and admitted to substance abuse. She was clearly under the influence at the time, and we had concerns, so we brought the child back to the department.
Okay. Now let's back up just a little bit. That was it kind of twofold? Did y'all originally ask mom to stay while y'all went to run some background checks?
Correct. We had asked mom to stay and went to get a car seat, at which time she left.
Okay. And you went to get a car seat. Had mom also given you some names of possible safety placements?
She did.
Okay. And do you remember what those names were?
No, not without looking at my documentation.
Okay. Do you have your report in front of you?
I do.
Okay. Could you look at it real quick just to refresh your memory and tell me who those people were?
Mother provided Tyler Shepard as one of the options for placement. And Jasmine Collins.
Okay. During your time during investigations, were you able to run their backgrounds to see if they would be appropriate?
Yes, all possible placements were run.
Okay. With Jasmine Collins, was the name of Lance Chris also given?
That is Lance Chris, yes, was also provided as the owner of the residence that Jasmine Collins resided at.
Okay, all right. And so those parties were running, looking at backgrounds, and they were not appropriate supervising or caregiving parties. Is that correct?
Correct. Jasmine Collins was investigated by the department previously, and Lance Chris was not able to provide 24-hour supervision for the child.
Okay. All right. So mom took the child and did not stay at the residence on the first meeting. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. When was it that y'all were able to reestablish contact with mom?
On September 6th, we became aware that that Roxana had returned to the shed behind the residence, and at that point, we made contact there.
Okay. And did you have a further discussion with mom about the concerns and possible use?
Correct. Law enforcement made contact there as mom was trying to sneak out the back of the residence.
Okay.
And so they prevented her from leaving, at which point the conversation was had at the department instead of out on scene.
Okay. Once you made contact, then we're at where you tried transported mom and child to the department. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. How was mom during transportation?
She was very emotional, very, at one point I thought she was actually going to jump out of my moving vehicle and I had to pull over to the side of the road. Law enforcement was following me at the time. So I had to get out and let them know that we were continuing.
Okay. All right. And you got mom and child back to the department. Did y'all have further discussions with mom about the allegations and concerns?
Yes, we did.
Okay. When y'all were meeting with mom, did she admit when her last use was?
Mother, let's see. She said that she does smoke meth on a regular basis, and that the last time she smoked meth was on the night of September 1st with her paramour, Ame.
Okay. And so this was about 5 days prior to this, correct?
Correct. It was the day before we initially made contact.
Okay. During that conversation, did mom tell you who dad was?
Yes.
Okay. And who did she tell you dad was?
I apologize. I'm not as good at saying the names as the judge. Phone Savan Fun Harass.
Okay. At any time after this, after meeting with mom, were you able to meet with dad or talk to dad?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you meet with him?
At the residence of the uncle.
Okay. And you say of the uncle, is this dad's uncle?
Correct.
Okay. And is this where you believe dad to be living?
Correct.
Okay. Were you able to speak with dad?
No.
Okay.
Not initially.
Okay. Can you explain that further?
So we were able to make contact with him later in order to serve him paperwork.
Okay. So when you were able to speak with dad, did you discuss the allegations?
Yes.
Okay. Did you discuss any possible drug use?
Yes.
Did dad make any admittance or denials as far as drug use?
He admitted to ongoing methamphetamine use as well.
Okay. In this meantime, did mom drug screen for you?
Yes.
Okay. And did her screens come back concerning?
Yes.
Okay. Did you confront the mother about those concerns in the drug screens?
Yes.
Okay. And did she deny or acknowledge methamphetamine use?
She was dismissive, but she acknowledged it.
Okay. Did she state whether the child was around, or was she the sole caregiver while she was under the influence?
She had admitted that she was the sole caregiver.
Okay. So what were your next steps after that? Did y'all continue looking for possible safety placements or different ways to prevent a removal?
Yes, we looked at the paternal uncle as a possible placement, but he had indicated that he didn't really have any concerns with dad and that he didn't see a need to prevent dad from having access to the children, so he wasn't deemed to be an appropriate caregiver.
Okay.
Or appropriate supervisor. Dad was unable to provide any other names. The names that mom provided were not appropriate caregivers either. Okay. And no additional names were provided.
Okay. And when you say the other names given, were those due to prior CBS cases or criminal cases or something going on with those people? Correct.
Jasmine had her children removed previously.
Okay.
And so she was excluded, as well as Lance, who resided with her.
Okay. At that point, did the department deem it appropriate or necessary to file for removal of the child based upon mom's admitting of drug use while being sole caretaker, dad admitting of drug use, and no safety parties that could be found to be appropriate?
Yes.
And at that time, do you believe that was in the best interest of the child?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So after removal, what happened after that? What were your next steps after removal?
Children were placed in appropriate locations. We requested a diligent search to identify any other relatives, and the children were drug screened.
Okay. And did the child drug screen come back concerning to you?
Yes. And Angelic had a methamphetamine level of 14,000. And Angel screened positive, or sorry, that was the mother or father. Yes, they were all positive for meth.
Okay. All right. And so at that time, you still believe it was appropriate and in the best interest of the child for the removal to happen?
Yes.
Okay. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. Maybe I heard a name wrong, but okay, were we asking, or was he testifying that the child tested positive?
That the child drug screen.
Raphael.
Okay, I heard a different name, so I wanted to make sure.
I apologize. It's Raphael that tested positive.
Okay. All right. That's what I just wanted to clarify. All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Nowak.
Thank you so much, Judge. Mr. Anderson, did Roxana attend Senecor?
I don't know. I was not part of that aspect of the, no, she actually, I take that back. She did check into Senecor prior to close of my investigation.
Okay. And is that the extent of your knowledge with regard to Senecor and Roxana with inpatient treatment?
Yes. Correct.
Pass the witness, Judge. You know what? While I've got him, if I might, Mr. and Judge, Mr. Anderson, you know for a fact that Roxana graduated in February of 2024 successfully from Senecor, correct, Mr. Anderson?
She reported to have prior stints in inpatient rehab followed by relapse.
All right, that wasn't my question. My question, sir, is quite simply, in February of 2024, Roxana graduated successfully from Senecor, correct?
She reported that, yes.
Well, I don't, so did the department, right? I mean, the department in its permanency report filed on September 23 of 24 reported that she successfully completed, correct?
That was what was.
And is recent.
Whoa, hang on. We got someone trying to object.
I would object to this line of questioning. Mr. Anderson is simply the investigator. During the time periods that Mr. Nowak is talking about, he would not have continued to be involved in the case.
Judge, he either knows or he doesn't know.
All right, Mr. Anderson, if you have personal knowledge of it, you can answer the question. Otherwise, you may not be the right witness. I don't know.
The only thing that was provided by me was that mother reported having stints of inpatient rehab followed by relapse.
I'll wait for the next witness, Judge. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Mr. Anderson, you had reported that you had met with the respondent father at his uncle's house. Is that correct?
Correct. I spoke to him outside the residence.
Okay, and I just wanted to know, the house that you're referring to, is that the home that's located on Goldenrod Street?
Correct.
Okay. Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Zavala?
Mr. Anderson, I just want to get the time frame of your involvement in this case. When we do the adversary hearing, do you hand off the case to a different caseworker?
Yes.
And so that would have been sometime in September of 23?
Correct.
So at that point, you are no longer an active part of the case. Would you have any personal knowledge of anything after the adversary?
No.
I pass witness.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further of this witness, Your Honor.
All right, anybody have any further questions for Mr. Anderson before I cut him loose?
No, Judge.
No, Judge.
No, ma'am.
All right, any objection to me cutting him loose?
No objection, Your Honor.
No
Okay.
objection.
All right, Mr. Anderson, you're free to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, Mr. Trout, who's your next witness?
Rachel Peoples, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor. May I proceed?
You may, as long as you don't let your voice trail off.
I will try not to. I can't make promises, but I try not to. Ms. Peoples, would you state your name for the record, please?
Rachel Peoples.
And Ms. Peoples, you were employed by St. Francis Ministries, is that correct?
Yes,
You are, as of the last few months, no longer employed by them, is that correct?
correct.
But you are familiar with the case involving the child we're speaking of and the case we're speaking of today, the Fonsalve case?
Yes,
Okay. And were you the permanency specialist on that case?
I was. Yes,
Okay. Now you weren't the initial. You were the second worker, is that correct?
correct.
Okay. Are you familiar with both parents?
Yes.
Okay. Once the department or St. Francis receives the case, what is your first steps? What do y'all do?
We would meet with the parents and create a family plan for them.
Okay. Explain to me what a family plan is.
It is basically just a list of requirements that we file with the court, counseling, inpatient if they need it, just different services that they need to work in order to get their child back.
Okay. Was that done in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have what I sent out, exhibits number 1 and 2?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what exhibit number 1 is, if you're looking at that?
Yes. It is Roxana's family plan of service.
Okay. And are these gone over with parents?
Yes.
And are parents asked to sign them?
Yes.
Okay. Looking at this, did mom, Roxana, did she sign this family plan of service?
She did.
Okay. Did she sign that on November 16th of 2023?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Is this family plan file marked November 17th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. Were the family plans, are they made in order of the court?
They are.
Okay. And were they made in order of the court in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 1 is the family plan of service for Roxana Ramirez that was just testified to.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, exhibit 1 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Peoples, exhibit number 2, can you tell me what that is?
It is the family plan of service for phone harass.
Okay. And was this family plan of service filed with the court on November 14th of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. And was it also made in order of the court?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 2, which is the family plan of service for the respondent father that was just testified to.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petitioner's exhibit 2 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Peoples, during your time on the case, did mom begin to work services?
She did.
Okay. We've heard some questions and testimony earlier as far as if mom went to Centacor drug rehab. Are you familiar? Do you have personal knowledge? Did she go to that?
Yes, she did. I went and saw her in rehab.
Okay. Did she successfully graduate from inpatient rehab in February?
She did.
Okay. Did mom work any other services?
To my knowledge, she did not.
Okay.
She did some parenting classes in Centacor and a few counseling classes in Centacor.
Okay. During your time on the case, and you were on this case up until June, I believe?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever receive any certificates from any other services that the mother completed?
I did not.
Okay. Can you tell me what all services was mom asked to do?
Let me look real quick. Complete parenting classes.
Let me ask you this, Ms. Peoples, real quick. Just kind of walk through it. So mom was asked to do parenting classes?
Yes.
You said that she had completed some parenting classes while in rehab?
Yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, did mom complete parenting classes?
No.
Okay. Did you ever receive a certificate of completion for a parenting class?
No.
Okay. Did you ever discuss drug use with mom?
I did.
Okay. Was this before or after rehab?
After rehab.
Okay. As part of mom's service plans to stay drug-free?
Yes.
Okay. did you and mom, y'all discussed it, did she ever make any admittance to you of any relapses or reuse of drugs?
She did. The last time I met with her, I believe it was in June, she told me that she had used that morning.
Okay. So mama completed rehab in February, and about 4 months later, she admitted to you that she had at least relapsed that day or the day before.
Yes.
Okay. Did mom ever do her OSAR?
I don't believe she did.
Okay. Did mom miss any drug screens while you were working on the case?
She did.
Okay. And when a parent is asked to go drug screen and does not go, is that considered a presumed positive?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many times during your tenure on the case she missed?
Two, I believe, or three.
Okay. Did mom have any concerning drug screens during your time on the case?
She did.
Okay. When you and mom discussed her use and her relapses, did she tell you what she had used, or did she just tell you she'd used?
She told me she had used meth that morning.
Okay. Was mom ordered to do individual counseling?
Yes,
Did she complete any individual counseling while she was at Senecor?
she did.
Okay. Did you ever receive a certificate of completion, or are you aware if mom ever completed all her sessions?
I received emails from her counselor at Senecor.
Okay. Did they state whether she had finished or still had some left?
I remember he told me that she had done, I asked how many she had done, and he told me, I believe it was 5 she had done.
Do you know how many sessions she was required to do?
6.
Okay.
For the family plan.
Sorry. Do you know whether she ever completed that last session?
Not to my knowledge, she did not.
Okay. And you never received a certificate stating that she had?
No.
Okay. Was mom ordered to do an assessment at Texas Panhandle Centers?
Yes.
Do you know whether she ever completed that?
I never got any verification that she had completed that.
Okay. Okay. Now, as to dad, do you know whether dad ever completed any of his services?
He did not. If he did, he didn't tell me.
Okay. Do you know whether he maintained employment?
I don't know.
Okay. You never received any check stubs or verification of any job?
No.
Okay. Do you know whether during your time on the case, did he stay in the same stable home or did he move around? Do we know?
When I went several times, I knew he was there, but towards the end, Roxana had told me that he had left and he wasn't coming back. So it was just all over the place, kind of.
Okay. And I'm gonna back up just a second. You said when you went by, what do you mean? Where did you go by?
The house on Goldenrod.
Okay. And that's his uncle's home?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever able to meet face to face with him at that home?
I was, yes.
Okay. During those meetings, did dad ever state he had started any services or had called any providers? Did he mention any of that?
No.
Did y'all discuss that?
I brought him his family plan the time after I met with him in person, the month after. And I wasn't able to make contact with him after I had brought him his family plan.
Okay. And do you know about when that was?
I don't. I'm sorry.
Was it toward the beginning of you working on the case or toward the end?
Probably towards the end.
Okay. So up until toward the end of your tenure in June on that, you had not been able to find him or meet with him?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know whether dad maintained a drug-free lifestyle?
I don't. When I was able to meet with him, I asked him if he could drug screen for me that day.
Mhm.
And he said he did not know if he would be clean or not on a drug screen.
Okay. Did he go for you?
No.
Okay. Did he ever go for any of your drug screens?
No.
Okay. Did he ever start or initiate or finish parenting class?
No, not to my knowledge.
Did you ever receive notification or a certificate of a finished parenting class?
No,
Did he ever do an assessment at Texas Panhandle Centers?
no, and I did not receive verification on that.
Okay. During your tenure on the case, was Dad ever compliant with his family plans of service?
No,
Okay. And I'm gonna back up to Mom just a second. Was she required to keep stable employment?
yes.
Do you know whether she did or whether she has a job?
I had called Tyson, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, where she was employed at. And they said she was still employed. I believe I called in May.
Did Mom ever turn over any pay stubs or anything to you?
No, I didn't get any pay stubs.
Okay. She just notified you that's where she worked?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know about Mom's living situation? Where does she live?
She was living at that house as well on Goldenrod.
Okay, at the uncle's house. Do you know whether she's still there?
I do not.
Okay. Do you know how many did she only live there during your time on the case, or did she move around any?
She was only there.
Is that where she went after she left, graduated from Senecor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you look at exhibit number 3 for me?
Yes.
You have it pulled up?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what exhibit number 3 is?
It is the certificate of paternity registry search.
And on that registry search, does it state whether a intent to claim paternity of the child has been made?
Yes.
Does it state has or has not?
Has not.
Okay. And was that filed with the court on January 24th of 2024?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask to admit exhibit number 3 is the certified copy of the certificate of paternity registry search that was filed with the court.
No objection.
No objection.
No objection.
All right, petition exhibit 3 will be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Peoples, a couple of last questions. During your time on the case, Dad completed no services. His contact with you up until June, end of June, when you were left St. Francis, his contact was sporadic with you. And again, no services were completed by Dad.
Correct.
As far as Mom, at the time that you left, Mom had only completed drug rehab through Senecor. Is that correct?
Correct.
To your knowledge, she never finished up her parenting or her counseling classes?
Correct.
And did not initiate any of the other services to your knowledge?
Correct.
How, during your time on the case, how was the child doing?
Oh, he was doing great. He was thriving in his foster home and learning a lot of words, and he was very bonded to his foster parents. And he loved it. He loved where he was at.
Okay. Before you left, did you have conversations where foster parents, were they adoption motivated at that time?
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
I'll pass the witness this time, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Novak?
Thank you, Judge. Rachel, it's good to see you. Will you agree with me that Roxana completed inpatient rehab at Senecor in February of this year?
She did, yes.
And you were proud of her for doing that, correct?
Yeah, I was very proud of her.
We had big hopes, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will you agree with me? How long have you been in this? I know you're not in this line of work right now, or maybe you are, but how long were you with St. Francis?
A year.
Prior to that, were you with the Department of Family and Protective Services?
No.
In your year with St. Francis, would you agree with me that people who are addicted to drugs can go through rehab successfully and then relapse?
Yes.
And will you agree with me that sometimes it takes people more than once, twice, maybe more than 3 or 4 times to go to rehab to get cleanly shook of the drug they're on?
Yeah, I definitely think it depends on the person.
Okay. Do you think that Roxana would benefit from another stay at an inpatient rehab facility?
I think Roxana needs a lot lot longer than just 30 days.
Okay.
At an inpatient somewhere.
Did you tell her that?
We tried to get her into different rehabs here in Amarillo or programs, but they wouldn't accept her.
Which programs did you try?
We called the Downtown Women's Center, and they said that they wouldn't take her back because she had already basically burned bridges with them and had been through it too many times.
Now, I think I heard you earlier, Rachel, say that she completed 5 of 6 individual counseling sessions at Senecor, correct?
Yes, she did.
And she also took parenting classes at Senecor as well, correct?
Correct.
So Raphael is doing well.
He was when I was there.
Last time you checked in, I get it.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be a benefit for him to have his mom try rehab one more time to see if she could be a mom to him?
I feel like I'd be giving my opinion if
That's okay. That's what I'm asking for.
Objection, Your Honor. She's no longer a caseworker, works for St. Francis. Her opinion on that, I don't believe is at issue now.
She was the caseworker for the longest time in this case, Judge. I think it's a fair question, and I'm not sure what the answer is going to be.
Well, let's qualify the question to what her thought about it was at the time that she was a caseworker, not what her thought is today.
Let me rephrase then, if I may. Rachel,
Okay.
It would be the best thing in the world to get Roxana back into inpatient rehab, correct?
I think any person who's addicted to drugs needs to be in rehab.
And that would be the best thing for Raphael as well, correct? To have his mom go back to rehab, correct?
Yes, if he's going to go back with her.
Rachel, thank you so much. Judge, I'll pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Jackson.
Okay, sorry, Judge. Ma'am, I think that I represent Ponswan, the respondent father, and I think that you testified that you had met with him over at the Goldenrod home on multiple occasions. Is that right?
2 times, yes.
2 times? Okay, and have you had the opportunity to read the report that's before the court today, the permanency report to the court? Have you read that?
I have not.
Okay. I'll submit to you that in the report with regard to Ponswan, that throughout the report, it says the department's had no contact and his whereabouts are unknown. Do you know when Ponswan's whereabouts became unknown?
I don't.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Vala.
So, Ms. Peoples, when mom got out of Senecor, did I understand your testimony correctly that she went back and lived with dad at that Goldenrod address?
That's where she went back to live at, is that address there. And I'm not sure if dad was living there, but the 2 times that I did see dad, he was there.
Okay. So she at least went back to a place where he visited.
Correct, yes.
Okay. And during those times when you saw him there, he said, I don't know if I'll be clean or not on a drug test.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have a talk with mom at that point about where she's living and that the people who are in the home or visit frequently need to also be clean from drugs?
Yes, we talked about that a lot, how she needed to get out of her current living situation.
And after a while of living there, she did in fact relapse.
Yes. She told me that there was a house down the road that she would go to and do drugs and then come back. So.
Swims.
Stacy, did you pass the witness?
I'm sorry, I passed the witness. I don't know if I muted myself too fast.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I thought you were in the middle of a question. I couldn't tell. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, then, Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Nothing further from Ms. Peoples, Your Honor.
All right, anybody else have any questions for Ms. Peoples?
No, Judge.
No, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Trout, any further witnesses?
Yes, Your Honor. I would call Stacy Brown.
Okay, let me ask, is Ms. Peoples free to go at this time?
I have no objection, Your Honor.
No
I have no
objection.
objection.
No objection.
Okay, Ms. Peoples, thank you so much for your time today. Good to see you, and you're free to go.
Thank y'all.
Thank you,
Thank
Rachel.
Trees.
And are you the current supervisor on this case?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And how long have you worked for St. Francis?
For 2.5 years.
Did you work for the department before that?
Yes, I did.
Does St. Francis keep records in its regular course of business?
Yes.
Are the entries into those records made at or around the time the events occurred?
Yes.
Are the entries made by a person with personal knowledge?
Yes.
Do you have access to those records?
Yes, I do.
Are you a custodian of records?
Yes, I am.
Have you had the opportunity to review the file on this case?
Yes, I have.
In your review of the files, have you seen any certificates of completions for any services for mom or dad?
No.
Have you seen records of mom being sent for drug screenings?
Yes, I have.
And any records of mom being failing to drug screen?
Yes.
Same question for dad. Have you seen any requests for drug screens?
Yes.
And any failures to drug screen?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had any contact with mom?
I have not.
Okay. Do y'all, before decisions are made on these cases, do you staff with your workers on these cases?
Yes.
Are you, you go over the file and the records and make sure y'all are all on the same page on where the case is going?
Yes.
Okay. Are you personally aware of when the last contact was with mom?
Yes. It was on July 31st of this year.
Okay. And do you know where that contact took place?
It was at a restaurant. She would not allow the current worker to go to her home.
Okay. Do you know where the mom stated why she wouldn't let anybody in the current home?
She stated that she lives in a sketchy neighborhood and that there was sketchy people going in and out at all times.
Okay. So following up with the testimony from Ms. Peoples just then, y'all took over the case when she left. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you heard her testimony as far as there's been a failure to complete services.
Correct.
Okay. Has that, to your knowledge, has that changed since you've been the supervisor of the case?
No, it has not.
Okay. Do you know, have parents had visitations with the child?
No, they have not.
Have those been suspended?
Yes.
Okay. And why have those been suspended?
I believe it was failure to work services and possibly continuing to not drug screen.
Okay. We've been in this case for over 6 months.
Yes.
There are family plans of service for parents to work through to reunite with a child.
Yes.
Do you believe that mom or dad, either one, can provide a stable living situation or home environment for the kid?
No, I don't.
You believe they can supply the child with necessities for a child of his age?
That actually is unknown just from not being able to get into the home for either one of them.
Okay. And has the department provided resources to both parents to work toward reunification with the child?
Yes.
And have the parents availed themselves of those services?
Not completely, no.
Okay. Is the department today asking to terminate the parental rights of the alleged father, Fonarath Fonsave, as to the child Raphael?
Yes.
And I think I'm saying that name right, I'm not sure. And is the department also asking to terminate the parental rights of the mom, Roxana Ramirez, as to the child Raphael?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And is that based upon failure to work services?
Yes.
Constructive abandonment?
Yes.
Also on dad, there's failed to register with paternity registry?
That's correct.
Okay. In your honor, I would just ask that court take notice that dad was personally served on this case on 9/26 of 23.
Any objection?
No objection.
No objection.
All right.
No objection.
All right. I'll take notice that he was personally served September 26th of 2023.
Thank you, Your Honor. And also, Your Honor, that mom did appear at the temp hearing and the status hearing. And I believe there was also, let me check.
She appeared at the reset of the adversary hearing, as well did father, or alleged father. And she also appeared at the status hearing. He did not. And I believe, let's see, I think that was it, correct?
Yes, ma'am, I believe so. And Ms. Brown, is it the department's hopes and wishes for the child to be adopted?
Yes,
And is it the hopes of the department that the child's adopted by parent placement?
yes,
And do you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
yes, I do.
Okay. I'll pass the witness at this time, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Nowak.
Thank you so much, Judge. Stacy, it's always good to see you.
Good to see you.
My questions to you are going to sound suspiciously familiar to the ones I asked to David and to Rachel. Now, don't do that. Roxana Ramirez completed in-person rehabilitation at Senate-Corps, correct?
Yes, she did.
And she completed that in February of this year, during the pendency of the case.
Yes,
And in fact, if we do the math, it looks like she did 17 days in November, and then she went back January to February for a total of 53 days between those two stays. That sounds about right, doesn't it?
sounds about right.
And you've been doing this work for about 13 and a half years?
No, not quite that long, about 6.5 years.
I'm sorry, I wrote down 13 and a half. But you've been doing it long enough to know, and I hate this expression, Stacy, but you've heard the expression that relapse is a part of recovery.
Yes, I have.
And sometimes it takes people several times to go back into rehab to fully recover
Yes,
or to get sober.
correct.
And you've been doing this long enough, and you've been in this courtroom long enough to have seen cases where someone who has completed inpatient rehab during the course of the case is sometimes giving a 6-month extension if they relapse, correct?
I have seen, I'm not sure.
Objection, Your Honor. I believe this has already been ruled on in the prior motion.
I'm not going to be the appellate lawyer, and I want that lawyer to know that I ask these questions. And my question is simply this to this particular witness, Judge, is in similar cases, have you seen other people get an extension? And that's for the judge, and Stacy, let the judge rule on Daniel's objection.
Well, the problem I have with the question, Mr. Nowak, is that no two cases are alike or, necessarily that similar. I mean, I think she can answer whether she's seen an extension granted in a case when someone's completed rehab, but I mean.
Let me do this, and let me withdraw that question, just ask a more direct question.
Okay.
Stacy, do you think that Roxana would benefit from additional inpatient treatment?
If she had an open mind to accept what they were offering, yes.
No. She apparently had that open mind in February when she graduated, correct?
I would think so. I mean, I honestly don't know. I wasn't in her mind, but I would hope that she did.
Well, but St. Francis filed a report saying that she successfully completed inpatient rehab at Senate-Corps, correct?
Correct.
And that's a good thing, correct?
Absolutely.
And that's good for Raphael as well, correct?
It would be good for everyone, for society as a whole, yes, and including her child.
It would be good for Raphael, Roxana, and society as a whole if she went back to rehab, correct?
Yes, if she made the changes necessary, yes, it would.
Was that a yes?
Yes.
Pass the witness. Thank you so much, Stacy. Pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Thank you. Ms. Brown, could you tell me when you all last had contact with the respondent father?
The current worker has had no contact with the father. She made an attempt on July 22nd at the residence on, is it Goldenrod? I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
A man opened the door. She asked for the father and the mother, and he said they aren't here and I don't know where they are, and shut the door in her face. She then called the number that she had. A man answered and hung up the phone when she stated who she was.
Yes, ma'am. So would it be accurate to say that Rachel Peoples is the last person for the department that laid eyes on the respondent father?
Yes, I would say that's fair.
Do you know when that was by chance?
I think it was in March is what, it was in the last family plan. March 25th.
Okay. All right. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Ball.
Ms. Brown, by the time that your team got this case, visits had already been stopped, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And in fact, visits were virtual until mom would give a clean drug screen, correct?
Correct.
The last virtual visit, would you agree, was on March 26th?
Yes, that sounds about right.
Okay. And that all attempts to have mom drug test after she was out of Synacor, she didn't comply with.
Correct. She went a couple times and tested positive.
Okay. But there were a few months right after she got out of Synacor, she just didn't go. And then when she finally did go, those results were positive.
Correct.
And all she needed to do to get an in-person visit with her son was to give a clean drug screen.
Yes.
So she hasn't even had a virtual visit with her son since the end of March.
Correct.
Next witness.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything further of this witness?
Just real quick, Ms. Brown, in addition to the department asking for termination of parents' rights, are you asking for the court to award permanent managing conservatorship to the department?
Yes, I am.
And you believe that's in the best interest of the child?
Yes, I do.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Ms. Brown?
No, Judge.
Briefly, Your Honor. Ms. Brown, to your knowledge, did the respondent father, did he ever have a single visit with the child during the pendency of this case?
I don't believe he did, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. All right. Pass the witness. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Vala, anything further?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Trout, anything else for this witness or any other witnesses?
Nothing further from this witness, and then no more witnesses, Your Honor.
All right, does the department rest?
Department rest.
All right, Mr. Novak?
Rest, Your Honor.
All right, and Mr. Jackson?
Rest.
All right, Ms. Vala, anything?
I rest, Your Honor.
All right, department close.
Department closed, Your Honor.
Everybody else close?
Close.
Close.
Uh-oh, we lost Mr. Jackson. We got him back.
Thank you. Sorry, Judge.
No problem. Mr. Jackson, do you close?
Close, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Zavala, your recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor. Raphael is at the exact same placement he's been at through this entire case. He is thriving. He is talkative. He has the best smile ever. And he's had no contact with mom since March 26th. I understand that Mr. Nowak describes mom's time at Synacor as a successful completion. She stayed in Synacor for that period for about 30 days. I think she had done some days previously. Since that time, she never drug tested, or once she finally did drug test, they were not negative. They were all positive. So to describe it as a successful completion, I don't know that it was, but I know that she's done nothing since then. Dad hasn't been cooperating all the way through. Raphael deserves some permanency, and he's doing great where he is. And I recommend that parental rights be terminated so that he can be adopted where he is.
All right, thank you, Ms. Vala. Right then, at this time, I do find, or excuse me, I will adjudicate the alleged father, Ponesivan, I'm going to butcher it too, probably Ponthrath, as the father of the child. Raphael established the parent-child relationship between them. I will find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the rights between the father and the child based on Texas Family Code, Section 161.001, B1, the D, E, N, and O grounds, and the best interest under B2. I likewise find by clear and convincing evidence that it is in the best interest of the child to terminate the parental rights between the child and his mother, Roxana Ramirez, based on Texas Family Code 161.001, subsection B1, the D, E, N, and O grounds, and the best interest under 161.001 B2. I will name the Department of Family Protective Services as the permanent managing conservator of the child, and I'll dismiss all court-appointed attorneys after the de novo and appellate timeframes expire, with the exception of Ms. Zavala, who will remain as the child's attorney and guardian ad litem. Counsel, be mindful your de novo timeframe does begin to run since I've rendered an open court, and please, if you're instructed to file a notice of appeal, do not do so until a final order has been signed and adopted by the referring court. All right, I appreciate everybody's time today. I'm gonna let everybody get where they need to get. Thank you all very much. And our permanents, our next hearing for those involved will be on December 5th. We're here today on of 2024, and that's on both cases. This is a motion filed by the mother, Tamika Carruthers, for a change of placement. And so we'll go ahead and take announcements.
Daniel Trout for the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Kendra Ronco for the mother, Tamika Carruthers. We're present, ready, Your Honor.
Paula for the
Jeff
children.
Hill on behalf of Dante Jones. I'm not expecting that he'll be here, but I'm ready.
Okay. All right then, Mr. Trapp.
Judge, I believe since it's Mr. Rano's motion, she's got the floor on this one, I believe.
Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know if we had any kind of announcements or anything.
No, ma'am, there's
Okay.
some discussions going around that we got to try to figure some stuff out on, but I'll let Mr. Rano start.
All right, Mr. Rano.
Thank you, Your Honor. We would call Miss Tamika Carruthers.
All right, Ms. Carruthers, if you'll unmute for me.
And have you been working services for your CPS case?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you been in communication with your CPS caseworker?
Yes, ma'am.
And is your current caseworker Haven Duquette?
Yes, ma'am.
Was your prior caseworker Miss Valerie Sledge?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Miss Sledge your caseworker for the majority of your case?
Yes, she was.
Was she the one you kept in communication with to set up services, to do visits with your kids, pretty much everything involving CPS?
Yes, ma'am.
And did Miss Sledge also come to your residence?
Yes, ma'am.
And when did she come to your residence?
She came to my residence about 2.5 weeks ago. It was probably like a week before she left.
Okay. And when
Yes.
she came to your residence, she was still working as a CPS worker, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She had her badge, all those things.
Uh-huh.
Now, what did she say about your residence?
She said that it was fine. She said it looked fine. I told her that about my kids' room. Well, she told me that I had stuff to retrieve from my aunt's house, like beds and everything. They have clothes, they have toys and everything. So I was gonna just go from there, as far as fixing their bedroom and stuff up. So that's yeah. But she didn't say anything wrong.
So she had no concerns regarding your residence?
No, ma'am, she didn't.
And how big is your residence?
It's 2 bed. It's 2 bedrooms, and then I think it's like 2 baths, like a half bath, and then there's a full bathroom.
Okay. And one of those spare bedrooms is completely empty right now. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And why is that room empty?
It's for my kids. I was supposed to, if I was to get my kids back, I was just going to have everything put in there when I got my kids back.
And was your plan to have the furniture and things that your aunt currently has to place that in that room for the children?
Yes, ma'am.
And was Miss Sledge the one that suggested doing that?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know if Miss Jones, the current placement, will need that furniture if the kids were placed with you?
Well, Valerie told me that she bought the beds and stuff, and that everything else was already brought with them, so that I should be able to get everything that was brought with them. She told me that she bought their beds from Walmart, whenever she took them there, and then they already had they have like loads and loads and loads of clothes and bags of toys and all that stuff there at my aunt's, and that I would be able to get it. So from there, I was just gonna go, to Walmart and just finish up their room with.
Okay. And when you said she bought it, you mean that Valerie bought the furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, as far as your services are concerned, did you complete a parenting class?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you complete an evaluation with Texas Panhandle Centers?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you also complete your individual counseling?
Yes, ma'am.
And who was your counselor?
Dirk Milam.
And did you also have to drug screen for CPS?
Yes, ma'am.
And has CPS ever expressed any concerns to you about any of your drug screens?
No, I've only drug screened once and it was negative. Valerie told me.
And are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are you employed at?
I'm employed at Taco Villa.
And are you currently on medical leave for Taco Villa?
Yes.
Why is that?
I had a surgery and I ended up having a blood transfusion.
Okay. And how long is your medical leave for?
6 weeks.
And how much do you make at Taco Villa?
1350.
And at your current residence that you're staying at, are you living with a friend?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the name of your friend?
Adriana Howard.
And does Miss Howard have any CPS history that you're aware of?
No, ma'am, she does not. Not that I'm aware of.
And does she have any criminal history?
I believe she does, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think she said it was like some year, like maybe over 10 years old.
Would you have any concerns with Miss Howard being around your children?
No, ma'am, I wouldn't.
Now, has the new caseworker in your case, Miss Duquette, has she been to your residence?
Yes.
And did Miss Duquette express any concerns about your residence?
I'm not exactly sure. She did talk to my friend, but she didn't tell me too much because she ended up having to leave and go to work. So Adriana hasn't really been texting me. I didn't know she had to go to work as early as she did today. She usually doesn't go until like 11. But I wasn't there because I ended up having a family situation. But she did go out to the house and take pictures and stuff. I'm not sure if she just said too much to Adriana though. She didn't say to me.
Okay, and in the past, were there some issues with Miss Howard allowing the department and St. Francis access to the residence?
Yeah, she did say that she did not want them just going in and out of the home. And that's only because I feel like when Valerie had did the situation, when Valerie had went into her home, she supposedly told us that everything was going to be okay and that she was going to turn in the pictures of the house, that everything was fine. And then we ended up probably like a week or, like I said, like a week and a half, a week two later, ending up having to do it again. And
so was it fair to say that Miss Howard was probably frustrated?
yes.
But now the situation's been resolved and Miss Howard is willing to allow access, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And she did in fact allow access, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are you concerned about the children's current placement with your aunt, Miss Glinda Jones?
No, not just concerned. I'm not concerned about it, but I am concerned about my aunt. She, I want to get them so that my aunt doesn't have to stress out so much, and that she can do what she needs to do. Like she has daily things that she does. She works, so I am concerned about that part. I'm concerned more about my aunt, having them and having to go, they're babies. So they're younger, you know what I mean? So it's a lot that she has to take off from doing. But other than that, I'm not concerned in any bad way or anything like that.
And did Miss Sledge tell you that Miss Jones may not want to keep the children long term?
Yes.
Now, are you concerned if the children were separated, the siblings?
Yes, very.
Are they very close?
Yes, we've never been apart up until this situation.
Now, for all the reasons that you've testified to today, are you asking for the kids to be placed with you?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
And do you believe it's in their best interest to be placed with you?
Yes, I do.
I'll pass the witness.
Okay, Mr. Trout?
Thank you, Adam. Ms. Crothers.
Yes.
How long have you, where are you currently working?
At Taco Bella.
Okay. How long have you had that job?
Maybe since September, July, maybe the end of July, maybe the beginning of July.
So safe to say 2 months? Or 3?
No, maybe 3.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long, you said you're on medical leave right now. How long have you been on medical leave?
4 weeks as of the 15th.
Okay. So you got about 2 more weeks before you go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How long have you known Miss Howard?
I've known her for about a year.
Okay. Where do you know her from?
I've known her from, we had ended up going to Amarillo College together, but I ended up quitting. But then we started working together again at Taco Villa. And we also worked at another Taco Villa together on Georgia.
Okay. And so y'all there's no family or kinship relationship with y'all, correct?
No, it's just, she's a good friend to me.
Okay. How long have you been in the apartment?
Maybe 3 months, 4 months, maybe 3 months.
So did you move in with her before you started working at Taco Villa with her?
she had gave me a place to stay and gave me the key and everything. I just didn't start going at that point.
Okay. So how long ago was that she gave
When
you?
she gave, it was probably when I first started at Taco Villa.
And
sorry, I had expressed to her about my situation and everything, and she was actually just the first person to actually want to help me out, and I appreciated that. So,
and I understand that. I'm just trying to get the timeline down. So you said you started working at Taco Villa in July.
mm-hmm.
Okay. And so 1st of July, middle of July, end of July, where?
I'll say maybe like the third week,
Okay.
maybe.
And then you went on something. So about August 15th or so, you went on medical leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you worked for about 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And then went on medical leave.
Mm-hmm.
And you started living in the apartment with Miss Howard when?
I started living with her maybe the second week of August.
Okay. So you've been in the apartment with her for about 5 weeks?
Yeah, maybe a month or so. Yeah.
Okay. Where were you living before that?
I was living with a friend out off of 45th by Mr. Gaddy's. I'm not sure what her address was.
Okay. And since the case has started, is that the only place you've lived, or have you kind of moved around a little bit?
No, that's the only place I've lived. Yeah, that's the only place that I've lived at. And I
Okay.
lived there for the majority of the time up until I moved with Adriana.
Okay. And when you said the apartment, you said it's a 2-bedroom, is it 1.5 bath?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, there's like there's a bathroom in her bedroom, and then me and the kids would have we have the big bathroom, like the bathtub and the shower and all that stuff. Like we have the main bathroom.
Okay. All right. But there's not 2 full baths, 2 full showers. There's just 2 toilets and a 1 bathtub or shower?
No, she has a shower and everything. Oh, so that's 2 full. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. So yeah, she has a shower and everything in her bedroom. I mean, in her bathroom, and then so do we. A
Okay.
bathtub, toilet, everything in our bathroom as well.
Okay, so 2 full baths.
Yes. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Do you understand kind of department's concern as far as stability in living right now?
I do, but I'm not. Adriana was supposed to be here, but I'm not. I have not been like just hopping around, sleeping from couch to couch. I have not been doing that. I go to certain places so that I can be closer to certain places to get done what I need to do because I don't have a car, and I catch the bus to do certain things. So I'll come closer to where I'm supposed to be, and that's why I'm at other places. But I do not live at those places. So I'm not couch hopping. I wouldn't put my kids in that situation at all.
I understand. And when you say you will go to certain places to be close to certain places, what do you mean? You mean spend the night at this one place at a time, or what do you mean by that?
Sometimes at a friend's house, yes, I go to my homegirl's house, and sometimes I just go there and sit until it's time for the bus to come through, and then I go, and then I go back home. Because I live way off of Grand, and it's nobody wants to come way out there. So I mean, and I've been trying to do everything on my own, for certain reasons. So I just.
Okay. Are you currently trying to work toward getting your own apartment?
Yes, I am.
Is that what you want to do? Okay.
Yes.
Now I believe Ms. Howard told my worker this was kind of a temporary situation. What is your understanding of that?
Okay. She does put it as temporary situation, but I don't think she means it as, oh well, she'll put us out. It's temporary. From what we talk about already, she knows this was happening. She took on this situation. She didn't have to. So, it's like, we're going to be there until she knows I'm going to be there until I get my own place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you on the lease?
No.
Okay. And I know you may not be able to answer this question. This may be one for Ms. Howard if we can ever get her back here. But do you personally know, is her apartment complex one that you have to be on the lease to stay there for a certain amount of time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but you're not sure?
No, I'm not sure, but I don't think it is. We've already talked to, she knows, like one of the office managers over there or something, and they already know that I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they know that you're asking for 3 small kids to be living there also?
Yes.
Okay. If the department was okay with, since you're working your services and cooperating, and again, thank you for doing that, and thank you for working your services and doing well. If the department was okay with you spending more time with your aunt and the kids kind of staying where they are right now, but you getting some more time there, would you be willing to work toward that?
I'll be willing to work towards that.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll be willing to work towards that. But I don't feel like my aunt's place is big enough, is why I was trying to shoot for my own. I mean, I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. And this is hard for me. But I'm trying my best. I don't want to have to be clobbered up in nobody else's home when me and my kids can have a bedroom. And I know it wasn't fixed up when she went and saw it this morning, but I have reasons for that. Like it's gonna be put together. Like I'm not gonna fail my kids. That's just all I know. I don't have intentions on failing my kids.
And nobody's saying that, Ms. Carruthers. And like I said, nobody has said that you've done anything but been cooperative, and that you have worked hard through this case so far. Our concern is the stability, and to make sure,
I understand.
What we're looking at, I'd hate for a situation to get the kids placed with you and then something happened with you and the roommate and she asked you to leave. You're not on the lease. There's no stability. Then we're in a situation of y'all are out of the place again. That's what we're trying to get to. And that's why I'm asking these questions.
Of course.
Do you have any kind of timeline? I know you hadn't been working at your job very long, but do you have any kind of timeline of possibly having things together enough to get your own place?
Yeah, I do. I'm actually trying to get one out there where she's at. To be honest, I had talked to one of the managers as well to try to see if I could at least get, something going out there. I don't plan on being at her place for too long, but I am capable of getting my own place.
Okay.
I'm very capable. I'm on the housing list as well. So,
okay.
Yes.
Do you know what, if you were to get a place out there, what type, have you applied for one, you said? Or are you just talking to him right now?
I'm talking to him at the moment.
Okay. Would you be looking, I'm assuming, at least a 2-bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Financially, with your job as it is right now, do you have enough money saved up to where you could afford that if one came over?
For like the first month, maybe.
Okay.
For like the first month's rent, and then I'll be back at work by then.
Yeah. Do you make enough to keep up with the bills and the rent on your own right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay, you kind of made a face when you said that. So are you?
No, I'm just saying because yes, I do. I'm just, it's in my head. It's like the only reason I'm in this situation is I called on myself. I'm not incapable of doing anything for my babies, like I'm not. I just needed help at that very moment and I couldn't find that help. That is the only reason I'm here. I didn't get caught because that was it. Me and these babies have never been apart. I need my kids and my kids need me.
And I understand for others, and we're here because we don't want you to end up back in that same situation. That is everybody wants you to succeed, so that's where we're here.
I understand that, and I'm going to.
Okay. I'll pass the witness right now, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hill, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Okay. All right. And Ms. Zavala.
Ms. Carruthers, I want to echo what was said previously. Thank you for working so hard. It sounds like there's been a lot of progress. Right now, the 3 kids are with your aunt, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They're all together and they're here in town.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think probably you're getting the understanding that we all want to make sure it's a stable situation before the kids transfer over. If it took a little bit longer to make sure you had your own place, would you be open to going over to your aunts as often as you could to help put them to bed, get them ready for school,
Yeah.
spend as much time as you could over there?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we could potentially look at a transition over the next little bit, but with you having lots more access to the kids. Do you understand why we might want to go that route first?
I do, but I do, but I don't. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I do, but I don't, because I'm capable of doing it on my own. Like, I'm capable of taking care of my kids. And I understand, I don't know if it's based off of just because they didn't see something in the kids' room or what. Like, I don't know. I'm not understanding exactly, I've taken care of my kids with no job and we were fine. I paid bills with no job. We were fine. And it was not, we were fine.
Well, I'll tell you, my concern right now is just simply, I am so glad you've got this friend that has let you move in, and you've been there about a month, and I'm glad that's going well. But the kids haven't been there yet, and she hasn't experienced what that is like to have 4 other people in the apartment that's hers, and she's the only one on the lease for. If that doesn't work out, what happens next?
Yeah.
I
understand.
So I guess that's not much of a question, but you would be willing, if we needed some transition time, you'd be willing to go over to your aunts and be able to spend as much time with them over there. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Okay, Ms. Crothers, how far is it from where you live to where your aunt lives?
I live off of Grand Street at the Kathy's Point, and I think my aunt lives like somewhere off like Tascosa Road, like down the boulevard.
So clear across town.
Yes.
And what would your transportation situation look like to get back and forth?
As far as like to get to my kids?
Yeah.
I usually Uber to do what I gotta do, or I catch the bus. Okay. I had a truck, but I had a truck, but I have to get the tag and stuff fixed on it. They just went out, so I hadn't been driving my truck in about a few weeks.
Okay, but, so all you got to do is get new registration on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but I mean it's running and it's.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. All right. Ms. Naranjo, I'm gonna pass her back to you.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Crothers, that truck that you need to get taxed for, is that the truck you would use to transport the kids to and from school and whatever they need?
Yes.
And if that truck wasn't available, has Ms. Howard offered to help you with transportation?
Yes.
I have no further questions for the witness, Judge.
Let me ask real quick, Ms. Crothers, does that truck have a front and a back seat then?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so it's got room for all of the children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in car seats. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. All right, Mr. Truck.
I don't have any further questions for Ms. Carruthers right now, John.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hill, anything else?
No, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Zavala?
No further questions of this witness.
Okay. All right, Ms. Naranjo?
Your Honor, I don't know if Ms. Howard's in the waiting room now, but I'd like to call her as my next witness if she's available.
She's not in my waiting room.
Do you mind if I ask Ms. Crothers if she can try to get a hold of her?
Yes, I'm trying right now.
Okay. Do you have any other witnesses to call?
I'd
yes.
call Galinda Jones.
Okay, let's go ahead and start with her, and then Ms. Carruthers can try to get a hold of Ms. Howard.
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
All right. Ms. Jones?
I'm sorry, Ms. Jones?
I'm her aunt. Yes, I am.
And are the children currently placed with you?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry?
First time in a moment.
All right, Ms. Jones, you're breaking up.
Okay. Oh, Jesus. I don't know how we going. Can you hear me? Because
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
trying to get. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you right now.
Ms. Jones, have you expressed to the CPS worker that you're unsure of how much longer you can keep the children?
Okay. Have I expressed to the CPS? I haven't talked to CPS. I'm just willing to help Misha. Me and she have a lot of support. Yeah, she have support because my sister too. Yeah, she have support keeping these children until she get herself situated.
Okay. And Ms. Jones, your intention is not to keep these kids long term. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't want to keep them long term because they should be with their mom, and I know she's capable of keeping them. She went through a situation, but I know she's able to keep her children.
And do you believe that Miss Carruthers is a fit mother and should have the children in her care?
Oh yes, she is. She is. She love her children. She have them with her all the time when she's not at work. Yes, she is.
I'll pass witness.
Beg your pardon.
Okay, Ms. Jones, some other people are going to ask some questions. All right, so Mr.
Okay.
Trout.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Jones, how are things going with the kids right now?
The kids are fine. The kids are great.
Okay.
They're doing good. Only thing we're doing, we're trying to get them in school because Layla, it turned 5. They told me when they brought her from Lubbock, which nothing has been, just a lot of talk, but nothing has been done since they've been with me. They supposed to have paperwork. They have not given me anything. They have come into my home and all that. I've signed papers and looked like something should have been left with me. The school did call. I was supposed to bring some up there. I don't have anything. Other than that, they're doing good. We're just trying to get them into school since she is school age. And then the daycare, if we can get that, and that way that would take some of the load off of me.
Okay.
So this is what we don't mind helping. Like I said, she have lots of support with my sisters and all that. Her grandmother is even helping and all that. But it's just so much I was doing because I was there by myself. But I am willing to help her until she get her children's back.
Okay. And do you know what paperwork the school is needing from you?
They're needing some paperwork to let me know that I am the kinship worker, however that go. They
Okay.
I think they're needing their social security and all that. I don't have anything of that. I was supposed to take that up there. So when I talked with Melissa, she said she was going to bring it in the next 2 weeks when she come back and visit. So I was trying to get that earlier, but she never brought that. I don't know what they're doing now. So
you're needing the paperwork that shows that you are currently the placement for the children.
right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. And if the children are able to get in, it will take a little burden off you. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. I don't mind keeping them, but yes, that will take some burden off of me. Because like I said, I was so used to getting up. I was by myself. I was getting up, going things, just jumping up, going. But now I have these 3 little babies that I can't do that. It's not fair to me because now I have stopped doing everything I was doing. But like I said, we are going to work with her because she do have a lot of support to help with the children.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Jones, you understand in this case, it's kind of vital that we make sure that Ms. Carruthers is stable before we try to get the children back. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Okay. And are you willing to continue to help if she can start helping a little more with you while the kids are in the house till she gets on her feet better? Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
They had mentioned something to me about me being a kinship and my sister being whatever they have, that she cannot be with the children alone. We had agreed with that, but nothing else was said. Because we had told them we wanted her to do so she can spend as much time with them as possible.
Okay. But if that is approved to where she can come over and help more, as long as she's kind of supervised with the kids and everything's going well, we can work toward her getting her own place and the kids in with her. Is that okay with you?
That's okay. Yes.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Hill, any questions?
No, ma'am.
All right, Ms. Zavala.
Ms. Jones, I'm the kid's attorney. We've had several conversations, I guess I don't have a question, just to let you know that it looks like the paperwork is in process and you should have that soon.
Okay.
So no questions for this witness at this point.
All right. Mr. Trout, I have a question. Is it at this stage, are we ready to move mom into some unsupervised contact with the children?
I guess that's another question, Your Honor. right now still supervised. I haven't asked that question specifically. I put my clients on and ask that question.
Well, here's I'm just going to try to cut to the chase. If she's going to be able to go, let's just say we get mom starting to go over to Aunt's house a lot more frequently. If Aunt needs to leave and go do some things, I mean, if we're going to give Aunt a break, I'm talking about how do we really give her a break? So if mom is over there taking care of the kids, can we start some unsupervised contact and then still work with mom about getting her own place and really give Aunt a reprieve?
And Your Honor, after speaking to my clients, I think there's also another aunt that helps some, and I believe Ms. Jones just said, I think even Ms. Carruthers' grandmother helps sometimes too. So there's some other family members that are also helping aunt when she needs it or when she's got to go to work and that kind of stuff. So there are other family members that are also helping give a break every now and then, is my understanding.
Okay.
I think,
and that's great if mom's at work and she can't be there at the same time and all, but I guess the question is there any reason why mom can't have some unsupervised access, for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time or something at this point?
can I defer that to Ms. Martinez since she's a supervisor and see where we are?
Yeah. I mean, her drug tests are negative. She's working her services. She's cooperating. She's in touch. She's,
Yes, ma'am.
we're going to still, Ms. Crothers, we're still going to ask you to do some of those things. You're still going to have to drug test or, we're not done with all of that. But so Ms. Martinez, any thoughts?
Your Honor, I don't have an issue with that. I think that she can kind of coordinate with Aunt if Aunt needs to go run errands and stuff like that. And then she can stay with the kids. And Kinship is aware of it.
Okay. I mean, to me, we're accomplishing two things. We're giving Aunt a respite. We're working mom in with the kids more, making sure that's all going good while Ms. Crothers, you start working on, getting your own place. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I share the very same concern about your current living situation, about moving 3 kiddos in there. And, your friend may decide, okay, I'm not ready for that. I can't deal with that.
Yes, ma'am.
3 kids is a lot. And, it's in a relatively small space. So, I think it's better if Ms. Jones is all right with the kids remaining in her home, with you stepping up your involvement and your assistance until you get your own place.
Yes, ma'am.
And, so I think that makes way more sense. And by the time, probably by the time then you get your own place, I mean, if things are going well, everybody's going to be satisfied that you're ready to have the kids home.
Yes, ma'am.
If this all goes well, you get your own place. I don't see why we couldn't move the kids in just almost immediately.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So I know I'm jumping ahead of you all, but I mean, I don't know if anybody's got any real heartburn with that, but it seems to me to be the logical thing to do at this point.
I don't, Your Honor. I think that's kind of works better. I think if we can, like I said, main thing with the moving with Ms. Howard is the stability in the apartment. That's one of our main things. And we just kind of find out who she was. And, Ms. Doucette just went out there this morning. So we don't know a lot about that situation. I don't believe there was much documentation from Ms. Sledge as far as her conversation with Ms. Howard. So I don't have a lot of information on that. But mom is doing well from I've been told, with my worker and supervisor both told me on that. And if we can kind of work it that way, let Ms. Carruthers get a little more stable on her feet, I think it would work best. And like I said, if we can do the unsupervised visits, by the time she gets that, it may be a easier transition just to move them in with mom if we're still going well.
Yeah. Right. Ms. Howard is logging back in. So Ms. Carruthers, I think, I think you understand what the focus needs to be for you. And,
yes.
So, I think that's the logical way to go. I don't know whether anybody feels like they need to call Ms. Howard now. I'll certainly give Ms. Naranjo that opportunity if she wants to do that real quickly.
I think Ms. Howard is actually trying to say something.
Yeah. But I haven't sworn her in. So do you want to just call her real quickly?
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Yeah. Okay. Ms. Howard, I'll need you to unmute for me.
Marjorie Howard.
And thank you for being here today. I know you had some problems getting in.
No problem.
And are you the current roommate with Ms. Carruthers?
Yes, ma'am. Current
Okay.
roommate and possible guardian over this case closing or whatever the case may be.
And are you okay with 3 children and Miss Carruthers staying in your apartment?
Yes, I'm definitely fine with that. I agree on that circumstance for her to obtain reunification with her children based on the fact that they are in separate housing and she's a mother who needs to be in the same house with her children.
And are you
Okay,
willing
Ms. Ron, hang on, we lost Mr. Hill.
Okay.
And Ms. Howard, if you'll just slow down a little bit, it's a little hard to hear you. Ms. Galvan, our court reporter, I think she's kind of struggling. So just if you'll slow down some.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay.
But I'm waiting, we've lost somebody and I'm waiting for him to get logged back in.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, Mr. Hill doesn't really have much of a dog in this fight. Everybody comfortable with proceeding right now?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm not sure about all the other attendants.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of a question for the lawyers.
I'm good with it, Your Honor.
I'm fine.
Okay. All right, I'll watch for him. Okay, Ms. Ronho, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Howard, do you understand that by having 3 other children in the room in the household, that's going to be a lot to ask of you? Are you okay with that?
No, it's not a lot of me. I've had 34 nieces and nephews throughout my 17 years of life, so I'm definitely fine with that, hun. It's not more than I can deal with or less than I can imagine the kids being, honestly.
And is Miss Carruthers currently on the lease with you at your apartment?
No, I was stated that the case had to be closed and confirmed that she would be permanently residing there until I added her and the other 3 children to the lease. So I've already talked with my apartment complex to let them know. I'm just waiting on the finalization of the court session today. So once they're aware that she's there, instead of just, throughout the night, then they said that she would have to be added to the lease. But until certified that her and the 3 children were permanently there, then there was no need to add them to the lease. If they were going to be coming and leaving, they would be sustained for the 12 months leases just as well as I was. So I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be the full length or they're just going to need less time. So once we confirm that today on the time needed for her to rehouse and relocate, then I would go into the office and sign documentation for her being on the lease with her 3 children in my place. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Howard, you're going to have to slow down.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys.
You're fine. Okay, so your intention is to have the Miss Carruthers and the children added to the lease if they were placed with you and Miss Carruthers today.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
And you have no intention of kicking Miss Carruthers or the children out of your residence?
No, I have no intentions on that because of the principle that children need housing and as well as a mother with children would need to be housed. So speaking with her upon the issues that have occurred, I told her based on the room I have available, she would be able to access and use that space because I have no children. That's just open space and availability. And I would prefer her to be housed, sustained with her children in a comfortable space versus being in a shelter, being somewhere where they would have to get up and leave continuously. I agreed with all that because I've dealt with homelessness as an individual. So I would never want to see someone with their children fighting homelessness as well as the open CPS case or whatever that case is. So that's why I agreed to all of this beforehand.
Okay, and you're willing to cooperate with CPS to come by your residence, check on the kids, all that?
They have already came by. I told them once they're stated in the home, there would be no confrontation or issues and confirming that they are living there. There is running water, food, whatever they need to be supported. So yes.
Great, thank you. I'll pass it on.
Okay, Mr. Trout, you have any questions?
Just a few. Ms. Carruthers, just to clear up a little bit on the.
You mean Ms. Howard?
Excuse me, Ms. Howard. I'm sorry. I was looking at both names on the screen.
Yes,
Ms. Howard, on the lease situation, if the children were not placed there today, if we came to some other arrangement, how long can Ms. Carruthers stay in your apartment without being on the lease?
She would be for 3 weeks without having to be required to the lease. We're going on the 3rd week on this Friday. So that's why I'm wanting to know what the circumstances are today. So if I needed to add all 3 or if it would just be her who I'm applying to the lease. So that's the circumstances that we're under. It could be all 3 or just her. Whatever I need to do to update my apartment complex is what I'm willing to do in order for her to obtain her children or to find housing sustainable. So whatever I have to do.
Okay. So if the children weren't placed, you could add Ms. Carruthers to your lease for a 12-month lease. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then that would give Ms. Carruthers some stability.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. All right.
Miss
Bala?
Ms. Howard, I may have misheard something that you said, but it sounded like you were talking about if the case gets closed out today. So I want to talk about if the kids are placed there with you, do you understand that CPS would have to come every single week to check on them for probably about 3 months?
That's understood. I was just where they would be housed or what the case was. When I said case closed, I mean if they were closing in on my home or they were closing in at the current location, which I'm unaware of, but I just needed to know what the circumstances were being in the relocation with me and the circumstances on them communicating with me furthermore if I was going to be exempt. I'm not 100% sure because I have not went any further. Now, if they need to come in, that's
I'm so sorry. You're gonna have to slow down. I can't hear you when you go so fast.
Yes, ma'am. That's understood that they would have to come in and check. I already agreed and stated with that with their previous CPS worker, Sledge, and I'm assuming Miss Dubé that came in today. I explained that to her and she took pictures and said, okay, as long as that's okay, you agree with us coming in the home, securing water, securing food, securing room, then that's fine. And I agreed to that with her this morning prior to the court docket this afternoon. All of that's acceptable. All of that's understandable. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and I'm the attorney for the kids, so I'll have to come by and see them where they're living as well. Is that okay?
All of my information is with you guys. I believe CPS has it and Ms. Carruthers has it in her phone as well.
I pass the witness.
Okay. Ms. Ronho, you have anything else?
No, Your Honor, I'll rest.
All right. Okay, so here's what I'd like to do today. And Ms. Howard, I really appreciate your generosity and, your compassion for this situation. It's a truly wonderful thing that you've agreed to do. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to move the children into your apartment right now. And if you want to add Ms. Carruthers on to the lease because you need to do that, that's fine. What we're going to do is have Ms. Carruthers spend more time, taking care of the kids and doing things for the children at her aunt's house.
Okay.
And I don't have a problem with her having the children in your and her apartment for some time and visits. Okay. So they may be there, but they're there to visit and not spending the night. So I don't think that should cause you any issue with your lease.
Okay. Understood.
And the idea is that we want Ms. Carruthers to then start trying to find her own place.
De corte. De corte. Sí, es 17. Hoy.
Okay, she's not talking to us. Okay. And so I'm not going to change placement today, Ms. Carruthers. It's like we just talked about. Let's step up your involvement with the kids, the time with your kids. If you're going to be unsupervised at your aunt's house, I'm okay with you being unsupervised for, 3 to 4 hours, the kids over at your apartment. That's fine too. So, and then just, you can just work real hard on, number one, get back to work and then start working on trying to find a place.
Yes, ma'am.
But in the meantime, you'll have a lot more time with the children.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so that's what we're going to do for now. We will be back for an initial permanency hearing, or excuse me. Yeah, for our initial permanency hearing, and that'll be October 31st.
Okay.
Just for some clarification regarding the unsupervised visitation, is there going to be like a set schedule for that or a set amount of time other than no overnights, or is it pretty flexible?
I don't think it didn't seem like anybody had a real problem with it. So it's kind of as mom and placement would work out, I think.
Okay.
I mean, the kids, if they get in, if we've got school or daycare involved, we're going to be working around that too. So we are going to have some parameters and mom gets back to work and, so I think just by nature of everybody's schedules, there's going to be some limitation.
Yes, ma'am. Judge, on a couple of clarification also on, if mom's having unsupervised visits, we still got the parameters of, we need to know if anybody's around, that we're not aware of that has to be approved. So we got to make sure we're clear on that issue.
Absolutely. So Ms. Carruthers, the same thing, you can't just take the kids around anybody you want to take them around. You can be at your aunt's, house with them. You can be at your own home with them. And Ms. Howard, you could theoretically go to Walmart with them, the grocery store, but you don't just take them anywhere and you don't just invite anybody over. Those people need to be cleared.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Ms. Howard's. Yes, ma'am. You'll have to unmute.
Okay, with that being said, that's understood and agreed. I've already confirmed with her that we have no unwanted guests at my location. If it's just her and the kids, that's just fine, but it would be nobody else outside of myself and her at our apartment. Outside of the grocery stores, we would be attending that together. And then if the need be for us to attend anything outside of that, it would just be myself, her, and the kids. Any other location, I can't confirm it, but it would just be myself, her, and the children at our home.
I understand. And that's basically what I'm telling her, you know,
Yes, ma'am.
unless you would agree to that, obviously, and the department would agree.
And Judge, can I ask Ms. Howard just a couple of questions I didn't ask her, since we're going to allow some.
Yeah.
Ms. Howard, I know they came over and saw you this morning.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any criminal history?
I do have a assault charge when I was 16 and 17, leaving my mother's house. We got into an incident that has resided. I have not had any other run-ins with that. That was confirmed with them prior to contacting me about assisting the children. So I do have that assault charge at 17. No other charges or anything currently held against me.
Okay, and that, just to clarify on that, that was a misdemeanor domestic violence case. Is that what that was?
Yes, sir. With the family. Yes, sir. My mother and I, whenever I was rehousing at 17. Correct.
Okay. And in the same year, did you have a looks like an auto theft case?
Yes, I was charged for auto theft in my vehicle because it wasn't paid for. So yes, sir, they did repossess that.
Okay. And that was that was both in 2013?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And is that your only criminal stuff in your background?
That's the only thing that I have, and I've never ran into the police after that incident occurred. Yes, sir.
Okay. And do you have any CPS history?
Never had CPS history. I don't have any children whatsoever. I had a case when I was a younger child with my family, and that has resided, and I don't have any children currently.
Okay. So when you say that, you mean when you were a child?
Yes, sir. They contacted family, but yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And there's nothing else in your background that we need to know about that you want to tell us about?
No. I'm not a criminal. I'm not a criminal. I don't steal. I work. I take care of my business. I had a fear with the police at 17. I don't want to do it anymore. So that's why I do what I do, and I take care of me. And strictly, I prefer to have nobody around because less trouble is involved.
Okay. And kind of personal question, but are you seeing anybody? Do you have anybody that comes over to your house regularly?
I don't currently know, sir. I am a single person.
Okay. All right. And Your Honor, I'm asking this question due to we just kind of made that contact this morning, and so everything I've got is very preliminary background on the home is why I'm asking Ms. Howard that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure we didn't need to do some sort of more detailed home study before we got to that point.
Okay. So my best words of advice to Mother and to Ms. Howard are use your common sense. You know, I mean, if somebody's coming by and they haven't been approved, they don't really need to be there if the children are there. And, you know, so that's all I can really say is just use your common sense so we don't have any problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, then. I'll see everybody back October 31st, and we'll see if Mom's got any developments as far as her own place, or if we've got any problems or issues we need to deal with. And, you know, I hope, Ms. Crothers, I hope this will help ease the kids back home. I mean, it appears to me that's where you're headed. And so, you know, we want to make this work.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Your Honor, and we do have the placement paperwork ready, and it'll be dropped off before 5 p.m. The paperwork that Ms. Jones is needing, it'll be dropped off today.
Okay, great. Very good. All right. I appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
I'll see y'all back in at the end of October.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.